Lion of Judah Society. Lion of Judah Society.
Shabbat Shalom.
Yes. Reb Tov. Yes. Good evening. Good evening, good evening, Reb Tov and Lila Tov. Good night. Looking forward to a Boker Tov. Looking forward to a good new day, the Shabbat day. It's the Shabbat Eve right here on the air. And I would give thanks. Thank those on the Rastafari Israelites channel for the thumbs up right there. Give thanks to help to encourage the platform right here for this Torah reading and feeding. Wayyetzei. And he went forward, and yes, the patriarch Yaakov went forward. Some very interesting things about family in this Torah portion. But family, right here. Yeshua Shalom. Peace to those who love Yeshua, and no peace to the wicked, saith Elohai, saith highly I. Yes, I.
Lion of Judah shall break every chain.
Lion of Judah Society.
JAH Rastafari. Yay.
6 days shall thou labor, shall the 7th day take thy rest. 6 days shall thou labor, and the 7th day take thy rest. 6 days shall thou labor, and the 7th day take thy rest. And although now we are mature, we are like the sucklings and the breast. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom Aleichem, Malake Ha-Shareta, Malake Elyon, Mi Malek Malke Ha-Melakim, Ha-Kadosh, Baruch Hu. Peace be upon you all, ministering angels, messengers of the Most High, of the Supreme King of Kings, the Holy One, the Isla One, blessed be He. Boakem, le Shalom Malake Ha-Shalom Malake Elyon, Mi Melech Malke Ha-Melakim, Ha-Kadosh, Baruch Hu. Come in peace, messengers of peace. Come in shalom, messengers of shalom, messengers of Elyon, of the Most High, of the Supreme King of Kings, the Holy Isla One. Baruch Hu, blessed be He. Baruch Hu ni, le Shalom Malake Ha Shalom Malake Elyon, Mi Melech Malke Ha Melakim Ha Kadosh, Baruch Hu. Bless me, bless I with shalom. Messengers of shalom, messengers of Elyon, of the Supreme King of Kings, the Isla, the Holy One. Baruch Hu, blessed be He. Etkem, Sa'atkem le Shalom Malake Ha Shalom Malake Elyon, Mi Melech Malke Ha Melakim, Ha Kadosh, Baruch Hu. May your departure, your exodus, your coming out be in shalom, peace. Messengers of shalom, peace. Messengers of Elyon, the Most High, of the Supreme King of Kings, the Holy One. Baruch Hu, blessed be He, be who He be. Shalom, Olay, Kalay, 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 Kalay.
Wherever you go, whatever you do, brothers and sisters, keep the Sabbath day and chase the devil away. Wherever you go, whatever you do, brothers and sisters, keep the Sabbath day and chase the devil away. Glory be to my God and King. Glory be to the Supreme Being, Rastafari, the Anointed One. Haile Selassie rules from Zion. Glory be to my God and King. Glory be to the Supreme Being, Rastafari, the Anointed One. Haile Selassie rules from Zion. Wherever you go, whatever you do, brothers and sisters, keep the Sabbath day and chase the devil away. Wherever you go, whatever you do, brothers and sisters, keep the Sabbath day and chase the devil away. Don't you worry of people's politics. Don't you worry of the preacher man's liars. For you and me, we are imperfect. Jah alone is the one I salute. Him alone is the one you should serve. Him alone is the one you should praise. Him alone, defender of the faith. Him alone stands for the truth. Wherever you go, whatever you do, brothers and sisters, keep the Sabbath day and chase the devil away. Wherever you go, whatever you do, brothers and sisters, keep the Sabbath day and chase the devil away. Sometimes you feel sometimes you feel helpless. Don't you give up, trust in the Father, for the Father is the provider. I know sometimes you feel hopeless. I know sometimes you feel helpless. Don't you give up, trust in the Father, for the Father is the provider. Wherever you go, whatever you do, brothers and sisters, keep the Sabbath day and chase the devil away. Wherever you go, whatever you do, brothers and sisters, keep the Sabbath day and chase the devil away. Wherever you go, whatever you do, brothers and sisters, keep the Sabbath day and chase the devil away. Wherever you go, whatever you do, brothers and sisters, keep the Sabbath day and chase the devil away.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, and nobody go on like you poorly. And you, Mrs. Holy, I'm on a chat to not if you chat to you. You better listen what I'm on a say. You better remember the Sabbath day. Man, me say you better keep it holy. Me say if you go feed the book, make me take a look. Go feed the book, let me take a look. Me say remember the 7th day. Man, me say you must keep it holy. Hear what I say. Rastafari. I and I give thanks and praise. For in 6 days just seated and rest upon himself. Yeah. And make the 7th day an holy day. So why shall not man do the right thing? I would say, remember the 7th day. Man, I say to keep it holy. You miss a cool it. Oh, yeah. Why John Tom said never they'll keep it holy? Because the man never show him that in the Bible. Go let me show you something. Remember the 7th day. Come let me tell yourself, remember the 7th day. Man, you better keep it holy. Jah make 6 days, and Jah take 6 days, and make the earth and the world, and make man a certain amount of time this man can know themselves. You better keep it holy. Come here, Mr. Cooley. Keep it holy. Come here, Mr. Cooley. Now go on like you're cooley. No, you I love and not another. You may change, but I never just keep it holy. Yeah, for man shall not live by bread alone, but by the word of speaking of the mouth of Rastafari, the Almighty, I with his dread upon his head. Rastafari, the Almighty, I to keep it holy. Come on at the dread, for we keep it holy. Come on at the dread, the right for the dread, and the left for the ball, the right for the dread. A man and then the left for the ball. Why the ball won't speak the truth and speak never? Cause it's what it will, I don't know. Man, me say to keep it holy. Sister, come on down and make we keep it holy. Shall I say you shall do the thing that Rastafari do in this time until that time? Yeah. Come on down and tell me. Remember the 7th day. Come Mr. Cool if you keep it holy. Come and make we share up the golden book. Man, you better take a look at the Almighty works in times gone by. Only if a man used to feel it, but the Almighty could stand until it's hour. Make we keep it holy. Come here, brother, cool it. Keep it holy. My brother, cool it. Keep it holy. Ja, Rastafari. Ja, Natifari. I and I.
Sanctifying our time. Narot, lighting the candles. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher Kedishanu B'mitzvotav, V'bitz Zanu, Lidlik Nir Shel Shabbat, V'shel Yom Tov. Blessed are you, O Yahweh, our Almighty, King of the universe, who has sanctified I and I by your commandments and has instructed I and I to kindle the lights for Shabbat and for the Kadosh day.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Africans beat the kete bang up the conga drum, bringing out come out Sabaja people come. Some dep on the Indian reservation, some will go on to repatriation, some will claim the land of Canaan, and of the slave driver them be a
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
And the Yahweh spake to Moses, saying, Speak to Aharon and to Benaiah, his sons, saying, On this wise ye all shall bless the Bnei Yisrael, the sons, the children of Israel, saying to them, Dabir il Aharona we illa Benaiah wa lemora, Koh, Tivarku et Bnei Yisrael amor lahem. The Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. Ye barekeka Yahweh we yisha mereka ka. The Yahweh make his face shine upon thee and be gracious to thee. Yair Yahweh Panayo Leka Neka. The Yahweh, he who be lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee shalom and give thee peace. Yisa Yahweh Panayo Leka we Yasem Leka Shalom. And they shall put my name upon the Bnei Yisrael, and I will bless them. We Sa'u et Shemi all Bnei Yisrael Wa'ani and here.
Damage music.
Father God, you know one thing, no, don't you? We out here like all the time. 6. Protect me while me, I protect myself. Oh Lord, me no left it. My them have been silent. Me send them like message for the all. When man on no credit, man I call upon you for help me with the enemy. Cause them out there. Many on these streets don't sweet like strawberry. Fly it. None of fear roll with this load for me every day. Just protecting myself, so if you see it, no feel nowhere. Father help me. Load with Bible verse and me empty. Can't take me like selfie, Father God bless me. You know long them a fling and nothing can catch me. Dog for me life sweet like Nestle. We okay. Protect me while me and protect my life. Nowadays friend them out and already. Me buy myself a 45. Me prefer stay hungry and full up it belly. For the all when man on no credit, man I call upon you for help me with the enemy. Cause them out there. Many on these streets don't sweet like strawberry. None of fear roll with this load for me every day. Just protecting myself, so if you see it, no feel nowhere. For the help me. Load with Bible verse and me empty. Can't take me like selfie, Father God bless me. You know long them a fling and nothing can catch me. Dog for me life sweet like Nestle. We okay. Protect me while me and protect my life. You know what these friend them out and already. Me buy myself a 45. Me prefer stay hungry and full up it belly. For the all when man on no credit, man I call upon you for help me with the enemy. Cause them out there. Many on these streets don't sweet like strawberry. Man no fear roll with this load for me every day. Just protecting myself, so if you see it, no feel nowhere. Protect me while me, I protect myself. Oh Lord, me no left it. of them have pencilin'. Me send them like message for all. When man on no credit, man I call upon you for help me with the enemy. Cause them out there. Many on these streets don't sweet like strawberry. Friday. Man I feel roll with this load upon me every day. Every day. Just protecting myself, so if you see it, no feel nowhere. Where? For to help me.
These are the books of the Holy Bible, the words of God. These are the books of the Holy Bible, the Old and the New Testament. There are Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, 1 Kings, 2 Kings, 1 Chronicles, 2 Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, and Job, Psalms and Proverbs. These are the books of the Bible, the Old and the New Testament. These are the books of the Bible, the words of God. Ecclesiastic, Songs of Solomon, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Hagar, Zechariah, Malachi, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the Acts, the Epistle to the Romans, 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, 1 Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians, 1 and 2 Timothy, Titus, Philemon, to the Hebrews, the Epistle of James, 1 and 2 Peter, 1, 2 and 3 John, Jude, and Revelation. These are the books.
Lion of Judah Society.
Psalm 95. Oh, come, let us sing unto the Lord. The Lord. The Lord. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. salvation, salvation. Let us come before his presence with thanksgiving, thanksgiving, thanksgiving. And make a joyful noise unto him with psalms, with psalms, with psalms. For the Lord is a great God, great God, great God. And a great King above all God, 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 above all. In his hand are the deep places of the earth. The strength of the hills is his also. The sea is his, and he made it, and his hands formed the dry land. Oh, come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. For he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture, and the sheep of his hand. Today, if ye will hear his voice, harden not your heart as in the provocation, and as in the day of temptation in the wilderness, when your fathers tempted me, proved me, and saw my work. 40 years long was I grieved with this generation, and said, it is a people that do err in their heart, and they have not known my ways. Unto whom I swear in my wrath, that they should not enter into my rest, 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 rest. Psalm 96. Oh, sing unto the Lord a new song, a new song, a new song, a new song.
שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שיר חדש, שיר חדש, שיר חדש, שיר חדש.
Sing unto the Lord, all the earth, all the earth, all the earth, all the earth, all the earth.
שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, כל הארץ, כל הארץ, כל הארץ, כל הארץ.
Sing unto the Lord, bless his name, bless his name, bless his name, bless his name, bless his name.
שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, ברכו שמו, ברכו שמו, ברכו שמו, ברכו שמו.
Show forth his salvation from day to day, 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 day to day.
בשרו מיום ליום ישועתו, 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 ישועתו.
Declare his glory among the heathen, the heathen, the heathen, the heathen, the heathen, the heathen.
ספרו בת גויים כבודו, 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 כבודו.
Declare his glory among the heathen, his wonders among all people, 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 people.
בכל העמים נפלאותיו, 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 נפלאותיו.
For the Lord is great, but is great, but is great, but is great, but is great.
כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים, 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 אלוהים.
For the Lord is great, is great, is great, is great.
כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, לל מאוד, לל מאוד, לל מאוד, לל מאוד, לל מאוד.
For the Lord is great and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord made the heavens. Honor and majesty are before him. Strength and beauty are in his sanctuary. Give unto the Lord, O ye kindreds of the people. Give unto the Lord glory and strength. Give unto the Lord the glory due unto his name. Bring an offering and come into his courts. O worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. Fear before him all the earth. Say among the heathen that the Lord reigneth. The world also shall be established, that it shall not be moved. He shall judge the people righteously. Let the heavens rejoice, and let the earth be glad. Let the sea roar, and the fullness thereof. Let the field be joyful, and all that is therein. Then shall all the trees of the wood rejoice before the Lord. For he cometh to judge the earth. He shall judge the world with righteousness, and the people with his truth, 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 his truth.
Yeah!
Psalm 97.
מזמור צד זין.
The Lord reigneth, reigneth, reigneth.
אדוני מלך, מלך, מלך.
Let the earth rejoice, rejoice, rejoice.
תגל הארץ, הארץ.
Let the multitude of isles be glad thereof, be glad thereof, be glad thereof.
ישמחו איים רבים, רבים, רבים.
Clouds and darkness are round about him, around about him, around about him, around about him.
ענן וערפל סביביו, 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 סביביו.
Righteousness and judgment are the habitation of his throne, of his throne, of his throne, of his throne.
צדק ומשפט מכון כספו, 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 כספו.
A fire goeth before him, before him, before him, before him.
אש לפניו תלך, 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 תלך.
And burneth up his enemies round about, his round about, his round about, his round about, his round about.
ותלהט סביב שריו, 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 שריו.
His lightnings and light, lightnings and light, lightnings and light, lightnings and light.
העירו ורקב תבל, 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 תבל.
His lightnings enlightened the world. The earth saw and trembled. The hills melted like wax at the presence of the Lord, at the presence of the Lord of the whole earth. The heavens declare his righteousness, and all the people see his glory. Confounded be all they that serve graven images, that boast themselves of idols. Worship him, all ye gods. Zion heard and was glad, and the daughters of Judah rejoiced because of thy judgments, O Lord. For thou, Lord, art high above all the earth. Thou art exalted far above all gods. Ye that love the Lord hate evil. He preserveth the souls of his saints. He delivereth them out of the hand of the wicked. Light is sown for the righteous, and gladness for the upright in heart. Rejoice in the Lord, ye righteous, and give thanks at the remembrance of his holiness, 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 of his holiness. Psalm 98.
מזמור צד ח' מזמור, 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 מזמור.
Oh, sing unto the Lord a new song, a new song, a new song, a new song.
שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, 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 חדש.
For he hath done marvelous things, marvelous things, marvelous things, marvelous things.
כי נפלאות עשה, 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 עשה.
His right hand and his holy arm, his holy arm, his holy arm, his holy arm.
הושיע לו ימינו, 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 ימינו.
Hath gotten him the victory, the victory, the victory, the victory.
וזרוע קודשו, קודשו, קודשו.
The Lord hath made known his salvation, his salvation, his salvation, his salvation, his salvation.
הודיע אדוני ישועתו, 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 ישועתו.
The Lord hath made known his salvation. His righteousness hath he openly showed in the sight of the heathen. He hath remembered his mercy and his truth toward the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth have seen the salvation of our God. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all the earth. Make a loud noise and rejoice and sing praise. Sing unto the Lord with the harp and the voice of a psalm, with trumpets and sound of cornet. Make a joyful noise before the Lord the King. Let the sea roar and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. Let the floods clap their hands, let the hills be joyful together before the Lord. For he cometh to judge the earth. With righteousness shall he judge the world and the people with equity, 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 with equity. Psalm 99.
מזמור צד ט', צד ט', צד ט', צד.
The Lord reigneth, reigneth, reigneth.
אדוני מלך, מלך,
Let the people tremble, tremble. He sitteth between the cherubims. Let the earth be moved, be moved, be moved, be moved. The Lord is great in Zion, and he is high above all the people. Let them praise thy great and terrible name, for it is holy, 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 for it is holy. The king's strength also loveth judgment. Thou dost establish equity. Thou executest judgment and righteousness in Jacob. Exalt ye the Lord our God, and worship at his footstool, for he is holy, for he is holy, for he is holy, for he is holy. Moses and Aaron among his priests, and Samuel among them that call upon his name, they called upon the Lord, and he answered them. He spake unto them in the cloudy pillar. They kept his testimonies, and the ordinance that he gave them. Thou answeredst them, O Lord our God. Thou wast a God that forgavest them, though thou tookest vengeance of their inventions. Exalt the Lord our God, and worship at his holy hill. For the Lord our God is holy, 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 holy. Psalm 29.
Mizmor Kaftet, Mizmor LeDavid.
Give unto the Lord, O ye mighty, ye mighty, ye mighty, ye mighty.
Havu l'Adonai bene Elim, bene Elim, bene Elim, bene Elim.
Give unto the Lord glory and strength, and strength, and strength, and strength.
Havu l'Adonai kavod va'od, kavod va'od, kavod va'od, kavod va'od.
Give unto the Lord the glory due unto his name, to his name, to his name.
Havu l'Adonai kevod shemo, kevod shemo, kevod shemo, kevod shemo.
Worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness, beauty of holiness, beauty of holiness, beauty of holiness.
Ishtahavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh.
The voice of the Lord is upon the waters, upon the waters, upon the waters, upon the waters, upon the waters.
Kol Adonai al hammayim, 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 hammayim.
The God of glory thundereth, thundereth, thundereth.
El hakavod hir'im, hir'im, hir'im.
The Lord is upon many waters, many waters, many waters, many waters.
Adonai al mayim rabbim, 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 rabbim.
The voice of the Lord is powerful, 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 powerful.
Kol Adonai bakkoah, 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 bakkoah.
The voice of the Lord is full of majesty, full of majesty, full of majesty, full of
Kol Adonai behadar, 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 behadar.
The voice of the Lord breaketh the cedars, the cedars, the cedars, the cedars.
Kol Adonai shover arazim, 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 arazim.
Yea, the Lord breaketh the cedars of Lebanon, of Lebanon, of Lebanon, of Lebanon, of Lebanon, of Lebanon.
Vaishabber Adonai et arze hal-Lebanon, 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 hal-Lebanon.
He maketh them also to skip like a calf, Lebanon and Syrian like a young unicorn. The voice of the Lord divideth the flames of fire. The voice of the Lord shaketh the wilderness. The Lord shaketh the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of the Lord maketh the hinds to calve, and discovereth the forests. And in his temple doth every one speak of his glory. The Lord sitteth upon the flood. Yea, the Lord sitteth king forever. The Lord will give strength unto his people. The Lord will bless his people with peace. Peace, 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 peace.
Shabbat Shalom.
Selassie is our master, yeah, for the enemies are confounded. Rastafari power overthrow them, yeah. Rastafari
You sit and rain it high. Oh my. I dreamt of a great judgment morning, and of the wicked freeze when the trumpets are blown. Dreamt of all nation assembled to be judged in front Selassie I throne. Yes, I dreamt of a great judgment morning, and of the wicked freeze when the trumpets are blown. Dreamt of all nation assembled to be judged in front Selassie I throne. So many weep as the last word found upon their fame. Many prayed, but I know they prayed too late. And some tears trickle down the wicked man's face, as them can't go as I to righteousness. Ain't Thomas dear, standing on the land in this sea, stating that the wicked times will no longer be. With his palms stretched out for the whole world to see that he's a rightful ruler continually. I dreamt of a great judgment morning, and down the wicked trees went a trumpet and blown. Dreamt of all nation assembled to be judged in front Selassie I throne. Yes, I dreamt of a great judgment morning, and down the wicked trees went a trumpet and blown. Dreamt of all nation assembled to be judged in front Selassie I throne. Yes, I said the wicked man was there with his greatness, but when Jah come him up to leave it behind. And when Jah open the book of his record, no trace of the wicked man's greatness we find. He said, no shadows in the Zion forever. Yes, it's only love and unity for mankind. Oh, he's the King of kings, Lord of lords, conquering lion every time. He never have no mercy for the necromancers. He never pardon the words of the blasphemers. Surely punish those who make his word bad. Oh, my friend, what a lovely dream I had. Oh, yes.
Lion of Judah Society.
Ana b'koach gedulata yeminecha tatira serura. O Lord, we beseech thee to loosen with the greatness of thy powerful right hand those that are bound in captivity. Aver arina ta'ameka sagrenu ad aherenu nora. Accept the cry of thy people, exalt and purify I and I, O thou who art tremendous. Na gibor dorsheya Yehudeka gvavata shamrei. O most powerful God, we beseech thee to preserve as the apple of the eye those that seek thee, who art God alone. Barakema tahrema rachemea sidkateka tamida gamle. Bless and purify them, and continually requite them according to thy merciful, righteous. Chasina kadosha barova tuveka nachela etateka O thou who art most mighty and holy, guide thy congregate, thy aggregate people in thine abundant goodness. Yahida ge'eh li'ameka b'nei zochre kedushateka. Thou who art God alone and most excellent, regard thy people and who continually make mention of thy holiness, of thy set apartness. Shawatenu kabel ushmaz aikatenu yodek ta'el. Accept our prayers and hearken to our I cries. O thou to whom all secrets are known. Baruch Hashem Kavoda Malkuto Le'olam Oed. Blessed be the name of the glory of his kingdom, forever, forever and ever.
Crazy. When you feed people the truth, you don't know how they gonna react. You're scared of wrongdoers, people that's just ignorant. You're scared of the truth. We patient for now.
JAH Rastafari.
JAH Rastafari. JAH Rastafari. JAH Rastafari.
Yay, 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 yay.
Yes, yes, yes. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Mebarak here. Another version of Lekah Dodi. Lekah Dodi. Come, my beloved. Come to meet the bride. Come to meet the Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. Peaceful Sabbath. Mebarak. And a blessed one. Right here, here, here. Lekah Dodi. Oh.
Guardar y recordar fueron pronunciados en uno. Hashem es uno y su nombre es uno. Salgamos al encuentro del Shabbat, fuente eterna de bendición. El Santo nos llama a reposar en su luz y su creación. Lekah Dodi, Likrat Kala, Bnei Shabbat, Nekabela.
Ven, amado mío, al encuentro de la novia.
Recibamos el rostro del Shabbat. Mikdash melechir melucha. Será tu manto. Lekah Dodi, Likrat Kala, Bnei Shabbat, Nekabela. Ven, amado mío, al encuentro de la novia. Recibamos el rostro del Shabbat.
Lekah Dodi, Lekah Dodi, Likrat Kala, Bnei Shabbat, Nekabala. Come, O friend, the bride to meet. Come, O friend, the Sabbath greets. Lekah Dodi, Likrat Kala, Bnei Shabbat, Nekabala. To be repeated after each stanza. Lekah Dodi, Likrati Kala, Bnei Shabbati Nekabala. Keep and remember were fused in one word. When the voice divine, at Sinai was heard. יהוה אחד ושמו אחד. יהוה הוא בי ויבי, Jehovah. Yah, Jah אחד ושמו אחד. Our Jehovah is one, and one is his name. Yahweh echad u'shemo echad, l'shem u'l'tihareta u'tehillah. In him is our glory, in him our fame, I fame. L'kadodi l'krati ekala, b'nei shapati n'kabala. Oh, come, let us make I meet the Queen of Days. The Sabbath, Shabbat, yield joy in all her ways. The last of Elohim's walk, but first in his design. The Sabbath, Shabbat, foreshadows blessing, baraka, divine. Blessings I find. Lekad dodi likrati ekala, b'nei Shabbati nikabala. Thou holy city, Isla city, thou shrine upon Melech of the king of the Negus, even Negus Neges. Enough of thy grieving, come now and sing. Yahuwah Jehovah will redeem thee. Lift up thy face, Yahuwah Jehovah will restore thee again to his grace. Lecha dodi likrati ekala, b'nei Shabbati nikabala. Shake off thy dust and arise from the mire. Come and bedeck thee in festive attire. Thy redemption is near, thy weeping let cease. Yahuwah Jehovah will fulfill thy yearning for peace. Lecha dodi likrati ekala, b'nei Shabbati nikabala.
Shabbat Shalom.
Psalm 92.
מזמור צדה ב' מזמור שיר ליום השבת.
It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord, to the Lord, to the Lord, to the Lord, to the Lord.
טוב להודות לאדוני,
And to sing praises unto thy name, thy name, thy name, thy name, thy name.
ולזמר לשמך.
O Most High, Most High, Most High, Most High, Most High.
לשמך עליון.
To show forth thy loving kindness in the morning, in the morning, in the morning, in the morning.
להגיד בבוקר חסדך.
And thy faithfulness every night, every night, every night, every night.
ואמונתך בלילות.
Upon an instrument of 10 strings and upon the psaltery, upon a harp with a solemn sound. For thou, Lord, hast made me glad through thy works. I will triumph in the works of thy hands. O Lord, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, neither doth the fool understand it. When the wicked spring as the grass, and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. But thou, Lord, art most high forevermore. For lo, thine enemies, O Lord, for lo, thine enemies shall perish. All the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. But my horn shalt thou exalt like the horn of an unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. Mine eye also shall see my desire on mine enemy, and mine ears shall hear my desire of the wicked that rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our God. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall be fat and flourishing, to show that the Lord is upright. He is my rock, There is no unrighteousness, 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 no
מזמור שדה ב' מזמור שיר ליום השבת. טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועליך, במעשה ידיך ארנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. איש בער לא ידע, וכסיל לא יבין את זאת. לפרוח רשעים כמו עשב, ויציצו כל פועלי אבן, להישמדם עדי עד. ואתה מרום לעולם אדוני. כי הנה אויביך אדוני, כי הנה אויביך יאבדו, יתפרדו כל פועלי אבן. ותרם כרעם קרני, בלותי בשמן רענן. ותבט עיני בשורי, וקמים עלי מרעים, תשמענה אוזני. צדיק כתמר יפרח, בארז בלבנון ישגה. שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד ינובון בשיבה, דשנים ורעננים יהיו. להגיד כי ישר אדוני, צורי ולא עוולה תבוא.
And the man bowed down his head and worshipped Yehovah and worshipped Jehovah.
Psalm 93.
מזמור צד ג'.
The Lord reigneth, 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 reigneth.
אדוני מלך, מלך, מלך.
He is clothed with majesty, majesty, majesty.
גאות לבש, 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 לבש.
The Lord is clothed with strength, with strength, with strength.
לבש אדוני, אדוני, אדוני.
Wherewith he hath girded himself, himself.
עוז התעזר, 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 התעזר.
The world also is established, established, established.
אף תיכון תבל, 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 תבל.
That it cannot be moved, be moved, be moved.
אל תימות, אל תימות, אל תימות, אל תימות, אל תימות, אל תימות.
Thy throne is established of old, old, old.
נכון כיסאך מאז, מאז, מאז.
Thou art from everlasting, everlasting, everlasting.
מעולם אתה, 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 אתה.
The floods have lifted up, O Lord, the floods have lifted up their voice, the floods lift up their waves. The Lord on high is mightier than the noise of many waters, yea, than the mighty waves of the sea. Thy testimonies are very sure. Holiness becometh thine house, O Lord, forever, forever, forever.
מזמור צד ג'. אדוני מלך גאות לבש, לבש אדוני עוז התעזר, אף תיכון תבל בל תימות. נכון כסאך מאז, מעולם אתה. נעשאו נהרות אדוני, נעשאו נהרות קולם, יישאו נהרות דוח ים. מקולות מים רבים, אדירים משברי ים. אדיר במרום אדוני. עדותיך נאמנו מאוד, לביתך נאווה קודש, אדוני לאורך ימים.
Psalm 93.
מזמור צדק ג'.
The Lord reigneth, 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 reigneth.
אדוני מלך, מלך, מלך.
He is clothed with majesty, majesty.
גאות לבש, 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 לבש.
The Lord is clothed with strength, with strength, with strength.
לבש אדוני, אדוני, אדוני.
Wherewith he hath girded himself, himself, himself.
עוז התעזר, 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 התעזר.
The world also is established, established, established.
אף תיכון תבל, 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 תבל.
That it cannot be moved, be moved, be moved.
בל תימות, אל תימות, אל תימות, אל תימות, אל תימות, אל תימות.
Thy throne is established of old, old, old.
נכון כסאך מאז, 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 מאז.
Thou art from everlasting, everlasting, everlasting.
מעולם אתה, אתה, אתה.
The floods have lifted up, O Lord, the floods have lifted up their voice, the floods lift up their waves. The Lord on high is mightier than the noise of many waters, yea, than the mighty waves of the sea. Thy testimonies are very sure. Holiness becometh thine house, O Lord, forever, forever.
Aribon call Ha-Olami. Aribon call Ha-Olami. Sovereign of the world. Word sound said here before the master of the house reads the Eshet Chayil, the virtuous woman, from Proverbs chapter 31. This is first said. Aribon call Ha-Olami. Madon call Ha-Nishamot. Adon HaShalom, Meleka Adir, Meleka Baruch, Meleka Gadol, Meleka Dober, Shalom, Meleka Hadur, Meleka Watika, Meleka Zak, Meleka Chaya HaOlamim, Melek Toba Uametib, Meleka Yachida Uma Yuchada, Meleka Kabir Meleka Lobesha Rachamim Meleka Malke HaMelakim Meleka Nisgab Meleka Somecha Nofalim Meleka Osea Maisea Bir Reishita Meleka Pode Uamatzil Meleka Sacha Wir Adom Meleka Kadosh Meleka Rama Wir Nisam Meleka Shomea Tefila Meleka Tamima Darko Sovereign of all worlds, Rivon Kol HaOlamim, Master of all souls, Adon Kol HaNeshamot, Master of peace, Adon HaShalom, Mighty King, Melek Abir, Blessed King, Meleka Baruka, Great King, 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 Meleka Gadol, King that speaketh peace, Maleka Dover Shalom, all honored King. Maleka Hador, all worthy King. Maleka Watika, immaculate King. Maleka Zaka, ever living King. Maleka Chai Ha'olamim, the good King. Malek Tov, the only King. Ua Meitiba Maleka Yachid, most glorious King. Uma Yuchada Maleka, the King that is clothed in mercy. Kabir Maleka Lobesha Rachamim Maleka, Supreme King of Kings. Malakeha Melakim Malek, mighty King. Nisagaba Melek, the King that supporteth the falling. Someka Nofalim Melek, the King who produced the work of creation. Osea Ma'isea, Bereshitha Meleka, the King who redeemeth and delivereth. Podeh Ua Matzil Melek, the pure King. Tzach with Adom Melek, holy King. Kadosh Melek, exalted and elevated King. Ram with Nisah Melek, King who hearkeneth, heareth to prayer. Shome'ah Tefillah Melek, King whose ways are perfect. Tamim Darko, Melek Tamim Darko. I give thanks to the I, O Adonai, Elohai, Haliyai, and to the Elohei, the Elohim of my fathers, my patriarchs, for all the mercy thou, the I, hast shown to I, and for that which thou wilt shew and show to me, to I, and to my household, and to all thy creatures who are brothers with I in my faith. And may thy holy, thy island, and pure angels who do thy will be blessed. Master of peace, King, Melech, Negus, even Negus Neges, to whom peace, shalom belongeth. Bless I, and I with peace, with shalom. Remember I, and I, my household, and all thy people, Amikah, Bait Yisrael, the Beit Yisrael, the house of Israel, for a good and peaceful life. Melech, Hamelech, King, Negus Neges, most high above the host of Shemaim, our Creator, Irata, and the Creator, the Irata of the beginning, I pray to the I, that thou, the I, grant I and I household to find grace and good understanding and understanding in thy, the eyes, and in the eyes of all men, and in the eyes of all who see I and I, to perform thy, the I service. Grant I and I, grant us to receive the Shabbat with abundant joy, riches and glory, and with lack of sin, chet, remove from I household, and from all thy people, Amikah Yisrael, all kinds of disease, all kinds of pain, all kinds of poverty and needfulness, and put in our hearts, I and I hearts, the good inclination that we, I and I, may serve the I with truth, fear, reverence, respect, and love, and that we, I and I, may be honored in thy eyes and in the eyes of those who see I and I, seen. For thou, the I, art Ha-Melech, Melech Ha-Kavod, Yekuvr Negus, the King of glory. For to the I it is fitting, for to the I it is becoming. O Supreme King, command thy angels, the ministering angels, the angels of the Most High, that they remember I and I in mercy, and bless I and I when they enter I house, Beitei, on I and I Isla holy day. For I lighted I and I candles, I and I light, put in order I bed, and change I and I apparel in honor of Hashavat. And I have come into Beitekah, into the I Beit, into the I house, to make supplication to thee I, that thou mayest cause my grief to vanish, I acknowledge that thou, the I, didst create all existing things in 6 days, and I'll repeat it twice and thrice, acknowledge it over my cup, my chalice, on the day of my joy, as thou, the I, has commanded I and I to remember it, and to enjoy with the additional soul, nefesh, which thou, the I, has put in I shall rest on it as thou hast commanded I to serve to the I, and thus, like this, will I proclaim thy greatness with song. And I am mindful of the I, O Adonai, JAH, Rastafari, that thou wilt have mercy upon I in my exile, to redeem me, redeem I, to stir I heart to love thee I. Then shall I guard thy ordinances and thy statutes without grief, and I shall pray legally, as is meet and proper, as is right and proper. O angels of shalom, of peace, may your coming be shalom, in peace. Bless I and I with shalom, and give a baraka, a blessing to my prepared table. May your departure be in peace, in shalom, from now and even to all eternity. Amen. Selah.
Shabbat Shalom.
Who can find a virtuous woman? Who can find a virtuous woman? Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, the poor and needy. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies, the poor and needy. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax, and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant's ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. She considereth the field, and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands she planteth a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor, yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry, her clothing is silk and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen, and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up, and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praiseth. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. The end of the Proverbs. Who can find a virtuous woman? Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. Who can find a virtuous woman? Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. Who can find a virtuous woman? Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. Who can find a virtuous woman? Who can find a virtuous woman? Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies.
Shuba shuba, shuba shuba day, shuba shuba, shuba 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 day, shuba shuba, shuba shuba day, yeah 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 yeah. Now the real man can live without a woman. That night to day says a woman to her man. She's essential to his purpose and his mission. A good woman is a glory to her man. She'll never take the power, she'll just make him a better man. Every great man has a virtuous woman. Woman, you say you love me, you never leave me lonely, yeah. You always be there for me, so I need not to worry, yeah. Woman, to keep I strong, which is part of your plan. I'll leave my mom and dad, find a woman and be one. With a woman I make my bond, perfect combination. I am a black man, some love me black woman. Woman, I give me this sweet, sweet love. Oh, oh, any time of day, yeah, lots of kisses and hugs. Oh, I burn out all, yeah, yeah, yeah. No real man can live without a woman. That night today says a woman to her man. And she's essential to his purpose and his mission. A good woman is a glory to her man. She'll never take the power, she'll just make him a better man. Every great man has a virtuous woman. Woman I love and honor. The Father I delight, your Empress Omega. The mother Rastafari's culture revises to the king and his empress Menin, who showed us the right and the true way of living. Woman could never cause sin, so listen as I sing. But the woman on the earth, my joy bell ring, ring, ring. Equality in Zion, by nature's law, that's where it should go. For every man I know there is a woman. You meet the valley, oh, that's all I know. Oh, yeah. Shuba shuba, shuba shuba day, shuba shuba, shuba 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 day, shuba shuba, shuba shuba day, shuba shuba day, shuba 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 day. Well, I say the family unit is fundamental and important, you know. The real man can't live without a woman, you know. A bird is gonna ride this woman, a purify the woman that I want, you know. There you go, so much so, you know. Now, the real man can live without a woman. Like night to day, says a woman to her man. She's essential to his purpose and his mission. A good woman is a glory to her man. Woman, you say you love me, you never leave me lonely, yeah. You always be there for me, so I need not to worry, yeah. Woman, to keep my strong, which is part of your plan. I leave my mom and dad, find a woman and be one. With a woman I make my bond, perfect combination. I am a black man, some love me black woman. Woman I give me this sweet, sweet love. Oh, any time of day, yeah, lots of kisses and hugs. Rasta man I burn out all, yeah, yeah, yeah. No real man can live without a woman. Like night to day, says a woman to her man.
Selassie is our master, yeah. For the enemies are confounded. Rastafari power overthrow them, yeah.
Yes. Shabbat shalom, sembet salam. Yeah, so Jacob here, he was looking for one, Rachel, and he got 2 and then 4. Interesting. We had the previous Torah reading and feeding with Yitzhak, with Isaac and Rivka. Rivka shows she was an Eshet. Eshet, wife, woman of. Eshet, Isha, a wife. in the singular sense, in the I can't say not singular sense. How would we say by itself, right? Isha, right? If I say like my wife Ishti, or if I say a woman of strength, of power, woman of ability, Eshet Chayil, right? That's right there. Eshet Chayil, Eshet Chayil. So we see a couple of things right there. The Chayil too. We have the Chayil sense right there. So here we have the birth. We have the birth of the patriarchs here in this Torah reading and feeding the seventh sabbatical study for this Shabbat strong, but just a Shabbat shalom, Borak. Also, we have a psalm here, interesting psalm. If we segue from the virtuous woman, then we get to the fool. That's why some of the pictures, I'm looking at the pictures of the chant, people are going to look at the slides and be on there like, well, yeah, they get this one, but what about this? Because the contrast often helps us to, get better clarity. But right here, as we usually play Benjamite right here with this word, the Wayyekulu, and they were completed, finished, the heavens, this word of the Sabbath from Genesis chapter 2, right? First 4 to 5 verses here. Shema Yisrael. Hear this. This is Shabbat.
Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day, and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth, when they were created, in the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens, and every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew.
Shabbat, 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 yes it is a Shabbat day. Shabbat day. Shabbat, Shabbat, holy Shabbat, yes it is the holy day. Holy day. Shabbat, 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 yes it is the Shabbat day. Shabbat day. Shabbat, Shabbat, holy Shabbat, yes it is the holy day. Work all week and now it's time to rest. Cook up the food and everything blessed. Lay back and pull the scriptures out. Family reading what it's all about. Giving full attention to the most high of creation. He hallowed it and made it a holy day. Separation. To be one with the most high and feel his essence. Destructions of the world have to be absent. We have to remember the fourth commandment until thy kingdom come. Shabbat, 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 yes it is a Shabbat day. Shabbat day. Shabbat, Shabbat, holy Shabbat, yes it is the holy day. Holy day. Shabbat, 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 yes it is the Shabbat day. Shabbat day. Shabbat, Shabbat, holy Shabbat, yes it is the holy day. Holy day. I'm duty free from my responsibility for servitude. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's what the Father said we're supposed to do. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by the words that proceeded by him that sit up on the highest throne. From the heaven to the earth, angel and man abstain from work, just as it was from in the first. Why should I divert? Even love for take vacation, traveling and spending time one-on-one. It's a way of strengthening their union. We should do the same thing with the Almighty One. Shabbat, 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 yes it is a Shabbat day. Shabbat day. Shabbat, Shabbat, holy Shabbat, yes it is the holy day. Holy day. Shabbat, 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 yes it is the Shabbat day. Shabbat day. Shabbat, Shabbat, holy Shabbat, yes it is the holy day.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
Sembet Selam, Shabbat Shalom. A song for the days of rest, yeah, inside your home. Sembet Selam, Shabbat Shalom. A song for the days of rest, yeah, inside your home. Sembet Selam, Shabbat Shalom. A song for the days of rest, yeah, inside your home. 'Cause it is such a good thing, giving thanks and praises to the Most High, JAH Rastafari. On the psaltery, playing on the 10th string, showing love and kindness until the night. The brutish man would never know, neither does the fool overstand his soul. 'Cause JAH has made us triumph by the workings of our hands. Work and deep thought gives us purpose and a plan. Sembet Selam, Shabbat Shalom. A song for the days of rest, yeah, inside your home. Sembet Selam, Shabbat Shalom. A song for the days of rest, yeah, inside your home. See when the wicked grow like the grass, workers of the iniquity hate your righteous path. Rastafari scatter them like sand amidst the shore. Enemies perish 'cause there's a time forevermore. But my heart shall wakes up like the horn of Africa. See, I will be anointed with fresh oil, with fresh oil. Sembet Selam, Shabbat Shalom. A song for the days of rest, yeah, inside your home. And still, Sembet Selam, Shabbat Shalom. A song for the days of rest, yeah, inside your home. Love me down, 'cause this at the time people get caught in a dissonant mind. Listen behind, Babylon come with a different design, and still it's all the same. Better relax, sit and recline. His Majesty said unity and only Jah know. See enough of them are the sick and the blind. You consider divine. In a place which get them all, we call we high and I go show. You find your peace in a life. Your face look different this time. You find position and prayer, balance with spiritual light. Rasta are Israelite, where Babylon feel like trying to cut the branch. Please let it grow. The root of David, he could only be so. Got to take it easy, please take it slow. That's why I say, Sembet Selam, Shabbat Shalom. A song for the days of rest, yeah, inside your home. Sembet Selam, oh Shabbat Shalom. A song for the days of rest, yeah. Oh well.
Yes. So here. The daily Psalm, Psalm 14:14. Like to get into this Torah reading and feeding, but full of fullness for the Shabbat day, coming forward, forward, forward. But here, 6 Aliyah is interesting because Jacob and the family, they leave, right? They leave from Padan Aram. It's a very interesting dialogue between his father, or actually his father-in-law, right? Laban, father-in-law. Some very interesting things, and hopefully ones and ones checking in the Shabua probably checked out us building on some of the themes right there. Ideal family. Did Jacob have an ideal family? Do you think that that is an ideal family? But in grace, we can see the grace, even in the new covenant sense, even working in the Brit Hayashana, the new covenant sense, the grace. But here, such on today's, the daily psalm here in the season for the Shabbat Eve, right here, we had Psalm 14. Psalm 14, one of the themes is a corrupt world. And here, bringing out the theme in a little more detail, the prevailing corruption and the redemption that is desired. So we see what's corrupt, right? And we're looking forward, especially the righteous looking forward, redemption, being redeemed from this corruption. So we have Psalm 14 right here, today's daily psalm. According to the royal order of the Ethiopian Hebrews, the Israelites of Ethiopia, we have Mizmor Yod Dalet, some might say Yud Dalet. So here, getting a general overview right here, the prevailing corruption, a corrupt world. Now, there are 2 main lines of interpretation, Targum, interpretation of today's daily psalm, right, that have been applied to Psalm 14, Mizmor Yod, numerical value of 10, and Dalet, the 4th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Mizmor Yod Dalet. So the 2 lines of interpretation. Now, many, have their followers. Many of these old commentators even have their followers among modern, modern expositors, people researching and reasoning on these Psalms and understanding Psalm 14 as a description, right? Psalm 14 as a description of the hard lot of Yisrael in a godless world. So some applying this psalm to it's Yisrael, Israel in this world, in this godless, in this Yahweh-less, this Elohim-less world, right? On the alternative side, right, the psalm, it depicts the fate of the righteous, right? So the other interpretation is that this really is describing the fate of the righteous, the faith, right? And therefore the destiny or the result, the fate of the righteous, the tzadikan, right? Tzadikim, actually, tzadikim, the righteous ones, right? Amongst the Bnei Yisrael, amongst the house of Israel, in the midst of a scene of moral decadence, of moral degeneracy, right, in the nation. So what basically one interpretation applies it, well, it's like kind of us versus them, the others, the outside, the Gentiles, the nations. While the other interpretation is that it's about the righteous in the nation vis-a-vis the godless. It's interesting because it brings out a little bit more on the Esau and Jacob, like the 2 lines of interpretation of Esau and Jacob. One is that, well, Esau is the other man, or the so-called white man. And others is that, well, if you're not careful, there's Esau's that are amongst us. They are our color, but they're not our kind. You know what I mean? Our skin folk, right? But not particularly our kinfolk spiritually and, morally speaking. So there's 2 lines of interpretation here. One, it's Israel's hard lot. It's Yisrael in this world. And others, right? It is the righteous ones in Israel versus the ratchet ones. Isn't what the Brit Chadash says? The new covenant, right? The renewed covenant says, not all who are of, right? Not all who are of Yisrael are Yisrael, right? This is what it says right there. So it seems as though Paul and others had that sort of interpretation. In fact, this psalm here, it actually occurs. Okay, Let's let the scroller scroll a little bit. Right here, that's the Elohim. Yes, it's an Elohim song. We'll come back to that right there. Why is it an Elohim song? And it being an Elohim song, what is the meaning, Chabarim? Basically, it's a judgment song. As we had even in this Shabua, interesting, some of the psalms that we had in this Shabua. Right? Yeah, that's the opening verse right there. Right? And to show and prove that's an Elohim psalm. We had Psalm 50, Yisrael, Israel reigned. We had Psalm 48, the third of a trilogy, a trinity of Psalms, 46, 47, and 48, right? Describing even David's persecution and false prosecution by the hand of Shaul. You see how that was like Israelite versus Israelite, right? Righteous, right? Ratchet versus righteous, yes. Then we have also Psalm 90, the prayer of Moshe, right? Tefillah le Moshe, Ish ha-Elohim, the man of the true good, the true God, the Ish of the Elohim, right? And that psalm right there being a prayer of Moses, as many people misunderstand the 70, 80 years to be like a expiration date, so to speak. But it was an expiration date for that wilderness generation of disobedient, hard-headed, you can say Israelites, right? So even here, according to the Israelites of Ethiopia, the royal order of the Ethiopian Hebrew Psalms that we have even here in this Shavua, in this season, they kind of reflect the same theme, is what we're saying right there. So with Psalm 50, the previous Psalm, why was Yisrael in Psalm 50 being arraigned? You know what an arraignment is? You get arrested, right? Then you have to appear before a judge or a magistrate, and the charges are reviewed, right? And perhaps you might get a statement or so, or you might get a judgment, right? So Psalm 50, the arraignment psalm of Yisrael, Psalm 48, describing persecution of ratchet, wicked Israelites against righteous Israelites, Psalm 90, concerning the fate, right, of that unfaithful and ratchet generation, the generation that Yahweh brought out of Mizraim, but because of their lack of emunah, lack of credit, they had a low credit rating in Yahweh Eloheinu. Therefore, he did not bring them in, right? Which is interesting because Psalm 95, the first of the Kabbalat Shabbat Psalms, it speaks to that theme there. It's a very beautiful psalm. The first part is like praises, and the second part is like, today, if you would hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as you did, in the wilderness, the trespass, and it recounts those lessons as an admonition, as a warning, right? As an admonition, as a chastening, right? With words, as a caution, right there. So here, it brings us right here to Psalm 14. Psalm 14. Now, Psalm 14 is quoted in the Brit Chadasha, right? Psalm 14 is quoted in the New Testament. Should we go there? Should we go there first, the New Testament, to see how others before us in the New Covenant looked at this psalm, so we can hopefully get a right view of today's daily psalm? Well, right here, just basic ear, give ear, Shema Yisrael, Psalm 14, with some Hebrew highlights.
Psalm 14.
מזמור י"ד. למנצח לדוד.
The fool hath said in his heart,
אמר נבל בליבו.
there is no God.
אין אלוהים.
They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. The Lord looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek God. They are all gone aside. They are all together become filthy. There is none that doeth good. No, not one. Have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge, who eat up my people as they eat bread, and call not upon the Lord? There were they in great fear, for God is in the generation of the righteous. Ye have shamed the counsel of the poor, because the Lord is his refuge. Oh, that the salvation of Israel will come out of Zion, when the Lord bringeth back the captivity of his people Jacob shall rejoice, and Israel shall be glad. 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 Shall be glad.
So we have Psalm 14, Psalm 14. So once again, just looking at the two lines of interpretations, interesting because one's like a later day Yehudi popular rabbi commentator Rashi and Kimchi, right, who have many followers among latter day Yehudi, right? They often favor the interpretation that is the hard lot of Yisrael, the hard lot of Israel, right? Or ones might say, quote, in latter day terms, the quote Jews, quote, end quote, in a Jewless or a godless world. But when we look at how the Apostle Paul, the Rabbi Shaul, the Pharisee, right, turned apostle, Paul, right, how he describes it, it's the second interpretation that seems to apply, depicting the fate of the righteous elements, right, the righteous elements in and of Yisrael and of the Israelites, amidst a scene of the Israelites, amongst the Israelites, of moral, right, spiritual and moral degeneracy and decadence in the nation. Now, many apply the former. We can apply the former, right? The former here in our notes is what is adopted, but give thanks that they brought out the alternative, because we see that the Apostle Paul, right? Oh, let's bring that up right here. Let's bring that up. Let's get right to it. All right, let's bring it up here. So this is a document. What's the name of this document here? I always get this name kind of like, I like to give you the name of it, but it's Old Testament quotations in the New Testament, basically. Right? Old Testament quotations. Give me a moment. Let's see if I have a hard copy right here. Right? Because I want to scroll all the way to PDF. PDFs are sometimes convenient, but sometimes not so convenient. Let's see if they have any on the top. Usually in the books they have it on the top. No quotations. Yeah, well, quotations from the Old Testament, basically, right? That find themselves in the New Testament. Because you find people that say, "Oh, I love the New Testament. I don't like the Old Testament." And then it's kind of funny because the essence of what the Brit Hadasha is a right ordering of the Old Testament, bringing forward the New Testament, right, with the Old Testament quotation. So here we have also Psalm 14 is the earlier version, right? We could say the Davidic version of the later Psalm 53. So if you study Psalm 14 and then you go to Psalm 53, you'll find a similarity between the two. Right. So in Psalm 14, it's like the original, you would say the original dub, the original version. Right. And then in Psalm 53, Mizmor Non Gimel, is a later version of Psalm 14 that was adapted for congregational use, for aggregational use. Right. And there are some differences, but since we're not studying Psalm 53 fully right here, but just pointing it out that Psalm 14 is the Davidic Psalm, and then we have the later Psalm, right, that was adapted for congregational use. So we mean congregational use, for group collective worship. We all can sing together in that sense. So we have David's earlier version, Psalm 14, right? Psalm 14 right here. So here, let's bring this up right here. So here we have Psalm 14, verses 1 to 3. The difference in some of the numberings, you can see the LXX, the Septuagint, is numbered as 13. Because some say, that's a whole other matter right there, but there's a difference in numbering, right? Psalm 9 and 10 basically is often joined together because of theme in some of the older manuscripts, right? So in the LXX, which was said to be translated from an older version, it has that Psalm 13. And also in His Majesty's Bible, there is a parenthetic note that points out both the later numbering as we have it, 14, and also the earlier numbering. But that's kind of a connection right there. So here, let's scroll over here. Here we have Psalm 53, right? Psalm 53, and you see the LXX is 52, right? Also note the numbering. You see where it's 1 to 3. This is what we often go through with Psalms in our Psalm study, that the superscription, right, the small type here has a small superscription. Today's daily psalm, it says, for the leader or chief musician of David, or in italicization, they put a Psalm of David, but the word Psalm is not there in the original. When we look at Psalm 53, let's just go here, right? Study to show ourselves approved, get a context of it. So 53 says, to the chief musician, upon Machalat, a maskil of David, an instructive maskil, to make wise, instructive of David, a maskil of Dawid, right? In Psalm 14, we have to chief musician, Lamanatseach le Dawid, right? That's it. To the chief musician, La Menatseah, to the Menatseah, Le Dawid of David, right? And in Psalm 53, it's different. La Menatseah al Machalat Maskil Le Dawid, right? So that's one of the differences. And because of that superscription, you see where it says 1 to 3, LXX 52, 1 to 3, but then you see in the KJV, right? It says, well, in the KJV, what happens in the KJV is they take off the superscription. So when you're looking at the Hebrew manuscript for some Psalms, for example, the first verse, Hebraically, usually is the superscription. And in King James Version, they'll keep the superscription there, but have it in small type. It won't be numbered. And the first verse would be like, verse 2 in the Hebrew manuscript. But this is one of the reasons why you see the slight, numbering difference. Because sometimes even ourselves, we look at those things and we wonder like, well, why is that numbering difference? Here in 14 and in the LXX 13, it's the same. Because the superscription is just two words, La Menatseah Le Dawid, to the chief musician of David, right? But let's go through this right here. Just want to zoom in so you can see the fullness of what we have, what we're presenting here. And then you see over here, we have Psalm 5, right? Psalm 5. Now note that Psalm 5 in the LXX is 5. As we mentioned, because when we come to Psalm 9 and 10, in some manuscripts, those are joined up. And then we come to like Psalm 40 something, forget exactly, 40 something, where it's like broken down again, and then it kind of lines up with the usual numbering. But you could tell in the earlier Psalms prior to Psalm 9, right, it's a similar numbering. Psalm 5, verse 10, but as you notice, the verse is different here, and that's because of superscription, right? Now, why is all this being brought out right here? Let's look at this here again. Why is all this being brought out, right? Because these are the Old Testament quotations, right, that are quoted, right, including Psalm 40, 140, Slika 140, right, Psalm 140, right, verse 4, right, which is in the LXX is 139, verse 3, Psalm 10, right, Psalm 10, and you see in the LXX, this is where the change happens, in Psalm 9 and 10. You see Psalm 10 and 7, the LXX has 9, right, or 928, right, and then we have Isaiah, Yeshaya, right? Then we also have over here, we have Psalm, right? Psalm 36. Now, why all of this? All right. Now, this is the English. This is the English of what had the Hebrew and the Greek, right? Respectively, right? This part here, none that doeth good. Sounds like what Moshe said. And a lot of Christians and people, it's interesting to listen to their hermeneutics. When Yeshua, when the Torah student, the young scribe, the young ruler, in one version says the young ruler came to Yeshua and said, "Good master, good Rebbe, good rabbi, what must I do to inherit eternal life?" And then Yeshua, Robeno, asks him, like, "Why callest thou me good? There's none good but God." But there's a connection right here, Hebraically, because that's why Yeshua says, ye worship that which you know not. We know we worship the salvations of the Jews, of the Yehudim, of High Yehudim. So Judaically, as Judahites and as Yeshua, we look at it different than the latter day some of the Christians. Could they cut out the Old Testament, or they do a replacement theology and, confuse themselves. But here it says, none that doeth good, right? Yahweh looketh down from heaven upon the children of Adam, or the sons of men, right? Humanity, right? To see if there were any that did understand and seek Elohim, seek God. They are all gone aside. They are together become filthy. None, no one, none that doeth good. No, not one. Now, here context matters because some people will read that there and say, it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. None that doeth good. There's nobody, no one ever has done any good. And say, where did you get that theology? Is that theology? That's a doctrine? You just made it up just now? Right? Because you see, this is one verse. What about the context? We have to understand the context of what's being presented here. Right? Let's go on right here. So we get Psalm 5 and 4, right? Where it says, their throat and open sepulchre, they flatter with their tongue. Right? 140 and 3, adders poison under their lips. Some of y'all are familiar. You know where this is going with Paul, right? Right. So this means this is what they were reading, how they were understanding it in the time of Moshiach. Psalm 10 and 7, his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Then we go over to Isaiah 59, 7 and 8. Their feet run to evil and they make haste to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts of iniquity, wasting and destruction in their path. The way of shalom, the way of peace, they know not. Right? Then we get Psalm 136, like a 36, Psalm 36, right? No fear, no reverence, no respect of Elohim, no reverence, no respect of Elohim before his eyes. Now, here we go. There we go. That's where the quote, we find the quote in the New Testament there in Romans, the epistle to the Romans, chapter 3, verses 10 to 18. All right, that's the Koine Greek right there. And here's the full of it, as large as we can get it here. As it is written, right? As what? As it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. Now, some would take this and say, well, that means nobody ever was right. Nobody's righteous. You know, you see how when you take it out of context, right? There's a context to even what Paul is saying here in the epistle to the Romans, right? To those who know the scripture, you know, it is written. So those who know what's written, who read what's written, can understand the point better. So when we just pick up the Bible and open it up and read it and then go to expound on it, we don't understand that this is quoted from something that was written, that was understood. So the person who is quoting it is quoting in that context with somebody who understands. All right? Maybe that's why it says, there is none that understandeth. As it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. There is none that understandeth. There is none that seeketh after Elohim, that seeketh after God. All right? Now see the context of this with the two lines of interpretation, the hard lot of Yisrael, right, in a world of ungodliness, right, and or right, the righteous amongst Israel, true Israel, right? You know, all those who are Israel, you know what I'm saying? Amongst those who say they are, right? The sense of moral decadence, right? So amongst those who are morally decadent, they say they're Israelites, but they live like Gentiles. You see what I'm saying? And you know, they say they're Israelites, but their morality is the morality of other nations and not of what Yahweh gave to Israel. That context there, right? So it's a judgment, right? They are all gone out of the way, right? They are together become unprofitable. You see, instead of somebody asking, where's there? Where's there? There's none. Where's there? There's none that, where's there? There's none that seeketh after Elohim. Because we can say right here that it's not saying that there's nobody absolutely. Because what about the speaker? What about the person who composed this? Right? Right? They are all, but it's the judgment of these kinds, the unrighteous elements, right, in the body politics. They are all gone out of the way. They are together become unprofitable. There is none, to say amongst them, right, that doeth good. No, not one, not even one of them. Their throat, right, is an open sepulchre. With their tongues, they have used deceit. The poison of asp under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet swift to shed blood, destruction and misery in their ways. and the way of shalom, the way of peace, have they not known? There amongst them is no fear, no reverence, no respect of Elohim, of the Creator, the Judge, the Almighty, before their eyes. So Paul here he quotes, right here, when Paul quotes, this is interesting, Paul's quote right here, just to bring this out so you can understand how this psalm, right, makes its way into the new covenant, the New Testament sense. So we have verses 1 to 3 from this psalm, right? Then it's from Psalm 5 and 9, Psalm 140 and 3, right? Psalm 10 and 7. This is what Paul was quoting. Isaiah, Yeshaya 59, 7 and 8, right? Psalm 36 and 1. All this makes it in. So when you read it, like if you're reading the quote, you'll see the first part of the quote is the first 3 verses of Psalm 14 and Psalm 53, right? But then he continues. He don't say, and then it's written over here, then it's written over there, and that's written over there. No, he's just quoting what is written, right? Because each of these quotes is a kind of a profile of the ratchet, right? The profile of these and those, right? So here's some other notes which are interesting, but not to go there. You know, I like when they go over here in the Arabic, the Ethiopic, the Vulgate, the Hebrew manuscripts, just a point of reference of what, you know, we, or at least those of us, should be studying, right? And bringing forth the results. So here, this is the quote here that we have in the New Testament sense, right? Romans chapter 3, verses 10 to 18. Let's go through this once again. So we have Psalm 14, right? 1, 2, 3, right? Psalm 5, Psalm 140, 3, 4, right? 5, right? 6. So there are 6 areas of scripture that Paul quotes right here. But he begins off, right? He begins off with today's daily psalm. He begins off with Psalm 14. So let's get into this just a little bit here. It's Loko Batalawa, right? Small but very important. We have 7 verses here. Today's daily psalm right here. Shema Yisrael. So let's get into this psalm right here. Whoa. Amen. Let's get this. Here we go. So let's bring this up, and we'll go into some of the notes probably at another time. You know, Shabbat Eve, going into the new day, Shabbat Shalom, Barak, right? It's just as the general lamentation of Psalm 12 assumes a personal character in Psalm 13, and so in Psalm 14. So even here we have another interesting, in this Shavuot, we have Psalm 48, the last part of a trilogy or trinity of Psalms, right? Psalm 48, part of the trilogy of Psalm 46, 47, 48. And here we have another trinity or trilogy right here, Hebraically speaking. We have Psalm 12, Psalm 13, and here Psalm 14, right? It becomes again general and the personal note. Okay, it's going into a breakdown and a build, but let's zoom in on today's daily psalm right here, right? Psalm 14, according to royal order, Mizmor Yod Dalet, right? Some might say Mizmor Yud. We say Yod Dalet. Yod, Hebrew letter Yod, 10th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, numerical value of 10, and Dalet, 4th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, numerical value of 4. Right, here we go right here. Let's bring up compare scripture. So here the Aleph first. The Aleph is like the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. First verse right here. KJV wise, to chief musician of David. The fool have said in his heart, no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. None, no one that doeth good. Now we, as we already know, we avoid the italicizations. I mean, we could read them, but they really don't really matter if we're going into the interpretation, because when we get to the Hebrew, they're not there, right? The italicized words. So here, Lamanatziach David, Amar Nabal Bilibo, Ein Elohim, He Shachitu, He Ta'ibu, Alilah, Ain, Osei, To, Ain. There is none, none exists amongst these ones and ones. Ain, Osei, To. There's no doer, there's none that does, Osei, that does, To, that does good. La Menatziach, to the chief musician, Li Dawid, of David. Amar, saying, says, Nabal, says the Nabal. Amar Nabal, Bit Libo. These opening three words. Says the fool in his heart. Amar Nabal Bilibo. Amar Nabal, says the fool. Amar Nabal Bilibo, in his heart. So let's break this down right here. Key word here is the Nabal. The Nabal. All right. Remember we talk about like the musical instruments is like the Nebel, right? And how when we get to the root of Nabal, it's a noun, we have the Nabel, twofold sense, to be senseless, to be foolish, to regard or treat as foolish, right? To treat with contempt. Secondary sense, to sink, to drop down, the sense of like to wither, to fall, to fade away, to fade away. So we have here in the Strongs this primitive or Afro-Shemitic root. The root sense is like to wilt, generally to fall away, right? To fail, to faint. In the figure of speech, as we have it here, Hebraically, as a Hebraic idiom, the Nabal, right, is generally the fool in the figurative sense, or more directly, the morally wicked. The morally wicked. We emphasize the morally ratchet, right? In a causative sense, the verb in a causative sense can mean to despise or to disgrace. So let's think about Esau. Remember, Esau says Esau he despised his Bekorah, right? He despised his birthright, right? He despised his Bekorah. So he was morally, right, covenant-wise, wicked, right? And basically a fool, right? A fool, right? So when we read the story of him selling his birthright for something to eat, that's like hilarious. It's like, what? I mean, you really believe he has game in his mouth? You really believe what he was saying, right? This big old hunter, cunning. He's a cunning hunter, man of the streets. You know what I mean? It's like a man who says he's out in the streets. He get money. He get this such and such. He's out there banging all this stuff, making money. And then he want to borrow a quarter from you. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell? He'll borrow $1 from you. You're like, this is crazy. I'm about to die. I need $1. You know, but anyway, let's break down the Nabal. It's important to understand the Nabal, right? Nabal, right? Here from Nabal. This is the verb. Let's go back to the noun, right? Nabal. Amar Nabal. The fool says. The senseless, the fool. But we have to give a description of what kind of fool are we talking about, right? Amar Nabal Bilibo. What kind of fool, right, are we talking about right here? What kind of fool are we talking about? Remember, the theme is a corrupt world, right? So in verses 1 to 3 of today's daily psalm, we have three main parts, these 7 verses, 1 to 3, widespread corruption. Verses 4 to 6, the punishment of the wicked, the punishment of the ratchet. And then the concluding tefillah, concluding prayer in the closing in the 7th verse. So here we have the Nabal. So what about the Nabal? Take note. The Nabal, Hebraically, is fool. It's a fool. Yeah, a fool. A morally wicked. The fool, wicked, fool. But when we say wicked in a moral sense, and we say full, right? This denotes moral, not intellectual deficiency. So that means that a Nabal could be somebody who's very smart, you know, who is intellectual, very intellectual. You know, what was that tune by Damian Marley? Them something. I forget the tune. Something about fool or something like that. But like almost like the intellectual fool, right? The intellect. In other words, intellectually they're wise, but morally they're deficient. Right? Morally they're deficient. We say morally to put in the context in the moral of HaTorah, in the moral of the way, the truth, and the life of the King of Kings Christ. In Yeshaya, in Isaiah, in Isaiah chapter 32, Slika, in Isaiah chapter 32 and 5, right, we have the conduct of the Nabal being described, right? The word is translated there as a vile person, right? In English, as a vile person, Viele, as a vile person. And that is the meaning here. So we have Nabal here. Let's just go here to 32, right? 32, Isaiah 32 and 32 and 5. Let's bring out the KJV verse. It says, the vile person shall be no more called liberal. Wow, liberal, right? It sounds a little political, right? The liberal. So the vile person, I just have to laugh because, Lost Found, we've been going round and round with these Dixiecrats, the same ones that, wanted the whole institution, so-called slavery, to go on, right? The same Dixiecrat, they changed their name and become the Democrats. But morally, they're very morally, morally deficient. So the vile person shall no more be called liberal. But what do they call themselves? Liberal. And you think it's a good thing? They're liberal, right? See, if you have no wisdom, right? See, liberal in itself is not bad, right? Just a liberal in itself. But if you have no discernment, then the Nabal, the fool, you be calling the fool, the morally deficient, the morally wicked person, a liberal. And see, this is where we're at, right? With these liberals, a lot of them are these vile person, right? See, with understanding, know the truth. What the Moshiach said, know the truth and be free from their vileness, their deception. The vile person shall no more be called. So that means somebody can be called something. They don't have to be that, but no more called liberal, nor the churl. The churl. We don't speak that way nowadays, right? Yeah, man. The dude is really churl. He's a churl. What? A churl. He's a churl. All right. Look at the word churl. Churl, kilai, the scoundrel, the churl, right? It's the scoundrel, the knave, the sense of withholding. Look at that word. He's niggardly. That's a whole new one, right? Niggardly, right? Niggardly. He's niggardly. He's niggardly, right? Withholding. He's a churl, right? Cool, but to seize, to contain. So he holds on. They hold on to, right? They withhold, the scoundrel, right? Yeah. So here it speaks about two types of I'm about to say two types of politicians. Two types of politicians right here, right? But also the people who follow them, even if they're not the politician, they're part of the corruption, right? Isaiah 32 and 5. So the vile person. Oh, we didn't go into the vile person. Okay, the connection to Psalm right here. The Nabal, right? The same Nabal. So Nabal, foolish, senseless, fool. But let's take note that Hebraically, Nabal, right? The idea is moral deficiency, not intellectual deficiency, right? So I mean, don't judge them by, oh, this person's really smart. They know a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? But morally, right? Moral, genuine morality, according to the measure of genuine morality, right? So the Nabal shall no more be called, shall be no more called the what? What is he called? Nadib. They both begin for N, a noon, right? Nabal, right? And Nadib. So let's learn the difference between the Nabal and the Nadib. The Nabal is the vile person, the fool, the morally foolish person. You know what I'm saying? Who is called nowadays the liberals. We could go all into a whole thing on liberal. And I'm sure many of y'all can if you just take the time, ask the Holy Spirit, and look at these areas of scripture we're pointing to, right? They should hopefully open up, your understanding of like who's who, so to speak, in the zoo, right? Incline, right? So the vile person, right? No more be called the Nadib. Inclined. So what's the Nadib? Nadib is willing, noble, generous, right? Right? The princely one, right? Noble in mind and character, right? kind of remind me like in America when they had a lot of these like people come over here and they changed themselves when they came to America and they became like the Gilded Age. I don't know if you've seen that thing, the Gilded Age. They start putting on ears. They become like petite bourgeoisie. Many of the enslavers of the lost found, we black people here in Americas and Caribbean, you know, they came over here busted and disgusted and broke and poor, but then they was able to enslave, you know, God's people. You know what I'm saying? And then they put on ears. They started to build up themselves. Back in Europe, they were trash. But then they came over here and enslaved God's people, and then they were able to act like, yes, now I'm nobility. You know what I'm saying? That kind. So they'll put on these ears of being a Nadib. Oh, voluntary, magnanimous, a grandee, right? But you see what it says? It says grandee, sometimes a tyrant. That has been the lost found experience with these ones, right? Because we did not discern, or we must discern, right, that who they are, the Nabal. And the churl be said to be bountiful. The stingy one said to be Shoah. Shoah. Interesting, Shoah, wasn't that the province where it says majesty, the man child was born? Shoah? Shoah. Shoah. Independent, noble, rich, generous, the real generous one. All right, not the fake generous one, but the real generous one. You know what I mean? You know, but here, let's get into this one right here. So we had to bring out that word right there because it's important to understand that, right? The Nabal, what sort of person is the Nabal according to the Hebrew and the Hebrew scriptures, right? He is a person lacking in sense of honor and decency, deliberately preferring evil to the good, deliberately preferring evil to the good. In fact, the whole thing about the Nabal in Isaiah chapter 32, verse 5, really look into that. Look into who the original Democrats were. And this is not saying to become a Republican. You know what I mean? That's not what we're saying. You know what I mean? You know, use what's good, right? And bun the rest. You know what I'm saying? Or leave the rest, right? So don't play with fire. So Nabal have said in his heart, Amar Nabal Belibo. Have said where? Have said Amar. So here Amar to say, to speak, to utter. Amar saying Nabal. So in Hebrew, the verb often precedes the noun. So Amar Nabal saying the fool said. Amar Nabal, where did he say? Belibo, in his lab. Right? What's the lab? Right? It's the mind, in his will, in his innermost part, right? In the innermost of his innocence, right? In his mind, in his knowledge, in his thinking, right? Reflection, memory, in his inclination, right? His inclination, resolution, determination, and will. It kind of reminds me of the scene, you talk about the people express it differently in different tenses, but the scorpion and the tortoise, right? And the turtle, the tortoise, right? And the scorpion says, like, let me like go on your back and cross over. And he said, no, you're gonna sting me. And he's like, no, I'm not. Why would I do that? And then he finally does it. It's like his nature, understand the nature of things, his inclination, his heart, right? His will, the seat of his appetites, emotions, passions, right? This is where he says it. So the Nabal doesn't necessarily say, there's no God, no God, no God, no God. See, people often commonly think this is like the mental insanity that in some cases go on today amongst ones who claim to be atheists. The real so-called one. Now I want to confuse you. Let's just go through this right here, right? The fool have said in his heart, no God, right? The word there is not there, right? Amar Nabal Belibo, Ain Elohim. Ain, without Elohim. Ain. Let's bring this down here so you can get this right here. Ain. So we have Ain, right? This is not Ain. Not Ain. It looks like it, but it's Aleph. Ain. Ain means nothing. There is not. There doesn't exist, right? Without. There is no Elohim. Now, remember we said at the beginning, we said about how Elohim, right, is used as creator and judge in the context, creator and judge. We had one psalm this week actually broke it down very well. that distinction, that nuance right there. I think it was even the 50th Psalm where it says Elohim is judge, right? So when we have a psalm like Psalm 14 and certain psalms, right, which are like Elohim center the focus, these are usually either psalms speaking of creation, right, the creator aspect of Yahweh, or also speaking of judgment, because who has a right to be the judge but the one who created it, right? The creator. So here in this opening verse where it says he have said in his heart. The heart is the seat of thought, right? Beliebo in his lave. The heart is the inner man, the mind, his inclination, in the innermost of his innocence. The Nabal had come to this definite conclusion that he made the ruling principle of his life. Now, those who are familiar with the scriptures know there's a whole incident with David, a man named Nabal, right, and his wife Abigail, right, and the men that were with, David, right. She was wise, but her husband was a fool. It's an interesting narrative there to kind of check out as well. But he gives a good example of the Nabal. The Nabal had come to this definite conclusion, and he made that the ruling principle of his life. So when it says that he said in his heart, does it remind us of Sarah? Remember Sarah in Genesis chapter 18, right? She is Sarah dropping behind the tent door. She's listening, right? And then when Yahweh says that she's going to have a child, right? She starts, like laughing, but she laughs in her heart. And she says something in her heart. And then one of the three Shalosh Anashim, the three visitors, the Hebrew Trinity in the house of Abraham, right? Yahweh says, right, to Abraham, why did she laugh? Right? And then she starts to say, well, I didn't laugh. But then the scripture tells she laughed in her heart. That's why it tells us afterward, it says that she was afraid. This is why she said, I didn't laugh. You know what I mean? But then it's like, well, how this visitor knows that, right? Similar to when Rebecca, right? When Rebecca knew, right, that Esau in his heart, he was thinking, right, after the father dies, he's going to kill, right, his brother Jacob because of the whole birthright incident and everything like that. But it says that Esau said these words in his heart because Rebecca, Eshet Chayil, a virtuous woman who knows and knew Yahweh, right, she was able to discern her son. This is her son. She understood. She had to discern. You know what I mean? It's like you have a child or someone that that you raise and everything, and you could tell, what they're thinking. Why? Because you have experience. You know what I mean? But here he says in his heart. So when it says he says in his heart, it's not that it says that he's saying out of his mouth. I want to just make that difference there. Saying something in your heart, you know what I mean, is different than saying it out your mouth, right? So how do we discern the Nabal, right? Because he has this principle. What is the principle, this ruling principle? Ein Elohim. There is no Elohim. There is no God. So now how do we define this? Is he a common nowadays atheist? Some people say, yeah, that's the atheist. Oh, no, Hebraically, it's not speaking of what people call the atheists like today. It was a whole atheism. This is the Greek thing, right? It go back to the time of the Greeks, right? The Greeks and everything. And it can also be used in the context. Atheism is like the Israelites. We have one Elohim. We have one God, right? Therefore, we are not to believe in the other people's gods. We believe they believe in them, but we are not to credit them. You see what I'm saying? In that sense. So to them, we would be atheists because we don't believe in none of their gods. So it's not talking about atheism in that sense. I mean, it's easy to come to that because it says no God. And people say there is no God. And you say, oh, boom, you're a fool because of this. Well, not really. That's not the Hebrew context. By saying Ein Elohim, and it appears elsewhere in the scriptures, by saying Ein Elohim, this one, the Nabal, the morally corrupt, the morally foolish person, right, is saying that there is none who is judge. There's no creator and there's no judge. There's no consequence to evil action. There's none who observes human conduct and distinguishes between the virtuous and the vicious, right? Because if there's a God, then how come such and such happened? You know, you hear that a lot. If there's a God, then how come this happened? Where was God when that happened? Where was God when this happened? Where was God? That's more of the sense, right? Right there, right? Because they do not observe, because judgment is delayed. You know what I mean? You know, one's heart becomes set on their wickedness, right? And we have this elsewhere as well in Psalm 10. As I said, elsewhere in the scripture, when it says, Ain Elohim, there is no Elohim, there's no judge. So when they say, do what thou wilt, shall be all of the law. Right? You see what I'm saying? That is, you can say, the law of the Nabal, right? That says that there is no creator, there is no judge. So Psalm 10, verse 4, also in Psalm 73, roundabout Hebraically, verse 11, right? So here, opening verse right here, to chief musician of David, the fool, right? Remember, it's not an intellectual fool, one who is intellectually deficient, right? But one who is genuinely morally deficient. So the full of the verse right here, La menat tziyach le Dawid, Amar Nabal Belibo, Ein Elohim. Hishachitu, Hishachitu. They have dealt corruptly, they are corrupt. Hishachitu, Hita Ibu. They have done abominable works. They've done an abomination, right? Hita Ibu, Alila, twistedness, wicked things. Ain, there is not, Osei To, there's none that doeth good, right? So amongst these ones, there's no good, right? Something people say, well, sometimes a good thing can come from a bad thing. But that's not because this is their intent. That's not what they was doing, right? That's the grace of the Almighty, just to bring that out. So when it says Ain Osei To, amongst these kind of people, right? The Nabal, right? The type of person who says in his heart, in his thinking, that there's no creator, there's no judge, right? He shachitu. Let's bring out the shachat, the root word shachat. He shachitu, the he feel sense, right? He shachitu. You see right there, the he felt, right? They have done corruptly, spoil, ruin. They ruin, destroy. Morally, you see the second entry. Morally, they pervert. They pervert the course of justice. They are corrupt. They are corrupt morally. You know, he shachitu, right? He ta'ibu alila. He ta'ibu. They have done ta'ab, disgusting. He ta'ibu. They've done ta'ab. What's ta'ab? Ta'ab is a verb to abhor, right? To abhor something or to cause something to be disgusting, abominable, detested. If you say right? The loathe, right? Cause abomination. They cause abomination. They cause that which anybody that has genuine morality would detest, would loathe, would consider to be abominable, right? Hita ibu alila, hita ibu, right? They abominate the type of things they do, right? They abominate, right? Alila, abominable wantonness. They've done disgusting wantonness, disgusting deeds, evil practices, right? Disgusting things, right? Now notice this is an interesting word, alila. Alila has a sense of to affect, right? They affect. So that which morally was wrong, they even do legislation to make it right. You see what I'm saying? They affect these. Now, when we use this word alila, right? When it's used, often it's a performance. They're performative, right? Right? Often it's used in a bad sense, right? In a bad sense. But this word, when it's used of Elohim, is often interpreted as an exploit. When we use this word alila with Yahweh, it usually talks about what he did, like with Mitzrayim, what he did in his judgments. You know what I mean? In that sense. You know what I mean? To enforce his judgments, right? But the wicked, right, to enforce their wickedness, Ibu Alila, they do abominable works, disgusting things, and bring into effect. You know, make it, how can I say, commonplace. Like, look at the world we have today. You know what I'm saying? It's already bad, but look how much worse in some ways it has gotten. That's why it says, Ain Osei Tov. There is no doer of good. There's no doer of good, right? So unrestrained by a faith, a credit, a knowledge, an admittance that there is a creator and there will be a judgment for the deed so done, right? But unrestrained by that faith, right, in Elohim, in the creator, the true judge, as humanity's judge, right? Mankind, Israel in particular, but mankind in general, right, has grown utterly dissolute, utterly wicked, utterly ratchet, utterly without. People are looking at what's going on in these times and really scratching their heads. You see the process, it didn't just begin overnight. It's a process that has brought it to this particular point, and that's why this psalm definitely, is a psalm for these days and time, a corrupt world, right? So this is the opening verse right here that gives the context of this psalm, a corrupt world, Psalm 14. Laminatziach ledawit, Amar Nabal bilibo, Ein Elohim, Hishachitu, Hitaibo alila, Ain Osei Tov. There is no doer of good. So the bait verse, the first three verses here, widespread and spreading even wider, right? Corruption, right? Babylon is really opening up her dirty legs, spreading wide her corruption, right? Mother, what's this? She's a mother ucker of harlots. But Yahweh, right? Yahweh looked down, right, from Shemayim, right, upon the children of men, the children of Adam, right? On the Adam's family. Who's the Adam's family? Generally speaking, humanity is the Adam's family, right? But Adam here, right? Notice they translate the singular as a plural because in this sense, the children of men, the children of Adam is humanity. So Yahweh looked down from Shemayim upon the children of humanity, the children of Adam, to see, lerot, to see if, keyword if, there were any that did understand. Seek Elohim. If there was any that did understand, seeking Elohim. So the word "and" is not there when it says "and seek," because the force of the Hebrew is that if there were any that did really understand, right? In other words, we even touch on, is this the word here? We can touch on this word here, sakah. Any that were circumspect, prudent, were wise, right? Because if they really wise, they would doresh, they would seek, right? They would seek Elohim. They would seek the creator, right? They would seek the judge, right? They would seek the almighty power, right? So here, second verse, Yahuwah, mi Shemaim, Hishkif, al b'nei Adam, he who be who he be, me from Shemaim, the heavens, Hishkif from Shakaf. Shakaf, right? What is Shakaf? Shakaf is not the general look down or looking. Shakaf is like to overlook. It's almost like somebody looking out a window. In that sense, it has a sense like like when somebody look out the window, like stick their head out and look out and see what, like, somebody ring your bell. You're in an apartment building and your windows up front, so you can look out the window, look down. In that sense, that's the sense of hishkif from shakaf, right? To overlook, to look down, right? To lean over, to lean out, right? To lean out of a window. But it has a sense, as we use the word, to peep. Right, so Yahweh, he peeps, he gaze, right? He look at the spectacle of humanity, but he's looking for something, right? Let's go on right here. Yahweh mishamayim hishkif al b'nei Adam, upon the children of humanity, children of Adam. Lerot, lerot, to see, seen. Lerot, hayesh, if there exists. Hayesh, maskil. If there exists somebody who is circumspect, who is wise, who is prudent, maskil. Doresh, a seeker, doresh, a seeker et Elohim, a seeker of the Creator, a seeker of the Almighty power, a seeker of the true Judge, a seeker of Elohim, right? and the true Elohim, right? The only Elohim in truth, but true Elohim is Yahweh. So here, when it says Doresh is the important word right here, because Psalm 19 teaches us that there's two witnesses. There's two witnesses, right? Two main witnesses. There's the witness in creation, right? And the witness that Yahweh is the creator, he exists, is found in his creation, right? And also the secondary witness is in Torah. It's in the scripture, his revealed revelation of himself, right? So that's how we seek Elohim. All right, no spookism, but the creation. Observe the creation. Can you see his wisdom? Can you see his fingerprint? Can you see the spiral? Right? Can you see the sacred geometry? In other words, on creation, and recognize that can all be accidental, right? But must have had a prime mover, right? Yahweh, Mia Shemaim Hishkif al B'nai Adam. He looketh forth from heaven. He peeps, he gazes, he looks out, like looking out a window, right? Looking down out a window. Emphatically, right? Denying, therefore, the theory of the Nabal, right? So from the higher height. It's almost like somebody on the ground floor, right? Like down on the street, ground floor, and you like on the 5th or 6th floor, 7th floor, and you're looking out. Who would have a better perspective? Just think, for a moment. The one who has a better view, right? Yahweh mi shamayim hishkif, right? So from his abode in Shamayim, the higher height, Elohim, Yahweh Eloheinu, he scrutinizes the ways of humanity, right? Up on the earth, on the earthly plane. And what is he looking for? In the Hebrew, we bring out this verse, Yahweh Mishamayim Hishkif, right? We can bring it out as Hishkifa al B'nai Adam, Lerota Hayesh Maskil, as Yahweh looked forth from the heavens upon the children of humanity to see if there was any man of understanding. That's the Maskil. Maskil. This is the Maskil from Sakal. But as a form, Maskil is one who understands. Maskil, right? Any man of circumspection, any man of prudence, any man of understanding, right? A seeker of the Creator. Doresh et Elohim, right? Right? A seeker, one that seeks after, one that seeks the Creator, that seeks Elohim. So the maskil is the man who perceives the falsity of the statement. What statement? Falsity of the statement is the maskil, right? The one who sakal perceives the falsity of the statement. Ein Elohim. There is no creator. There's no God, and therefore there's no judge. Just do what you will. There's no consequence to anything. Right? Right? Yet one can look at nature and creation and see order, right? And and see morality even, right? Truly, even in creation, not man's wisdom, but Yahweh's wisdom. So here we have, if there was any that didn't understand, a man of maskil, a doresh et Elohim, right? And to seek Elohim, to seek the Creator, to seek Yahweh Eloheinu, is to act in a manner that would be in accord with his will, and to act in a manner that's in accord with his way, based on his witness, right? His witness in creation, his fingerprint in creation, and his revelation in and through Torah, right? So we have the Torah on one hand, and then we have the Torah in life, in reality. You know what I mean? Right? So right there, this second verse right here, right? Widespread corruption. Oh, before we go on, there's a phrase that doesn't really have its own word in the KJV, but what it says here, it says lerot hayesh. I want you to get this word here, yesh. Yesh is the opposite of ain. Ain means there's not, and yesh means there is. If I say yesh li sefer, there's a book for me. If I say ain li, ain, not li for me, sefer, not for me a book. Do you have a book? Ain li sefer. There's no book for me. You have a book? Yesh li sefer, I have a book. That sense. So Ein means without, like doesn't exist, and Yesh mean there exists. We often say that Yahweh Eloheinu in creating, right? He created Yesh Me'ayin. Yesh, something, the Yesh right here, existence, Yesh, May from Ayin. Yesh Me'ayin. He created, we can say something, right, from nothing, right? He created existence from that which did not exist. Yesh. So when it says right here, it says Hayesh, right? It says Yahweh Mishamayim Hishkifa al Bnei Adam. Yahweh looks forth, he pre from Shemayim upon the children of humanity. Lerot, to see, Lerot Hayesh. Ha, Yesh. So Hayesh, Ha is used as a definite article in Hebrew, but in certain forms, when we say Hayesh, like it's almost like to say like if there is, right? Like if there is, it kind of has a sense like if there is Hayesh, if there exists Hayesh, Hayesh maskil, if there exists a man of prudence, of circumspection, a wise person, a prudent man. Lerot Hayesh. So here this term Yesh. So Yesh is like the opposite. So when we had said earlier, right, when Yahweh looks forth, that by his looking forth, this is a sense of his denying the theory, the false theory of the fool, the Nabal, right? It's partly because in the same sentence, he's looking forward for a purpose, right? And the purpose is Hayesh, does there exist? Hayesh, Maskil, Hayesh, Maskil, Hayesh, Maskil, is there really a wise person, a person of understanding, right? And one who doresh, right? Who seeks et Elohim, who seeks Elohim's way, the Creator's way upon the earthly plane. So here, just to bring this out again, right? Yahweh, Mishamayim Hishkif al Bnei Adam. Lerot Hayesh Maskil, doresh et Elohim, one who seeks Elohim. Here, the Gimel verse, third verse of the opening portion of this Psalm, Psalm 14. Here, the third verse here, KJV says, they are all gone aside. They are together become filthy. None, no one that doeth good, no, not one. Right? You see the sense when Yeshua said what he said? No doubt this was in his mind, right? This was on his mind, right? But others, they interpret it differently. But you have to remember the context of the person who came forward to ask, and then added flattery, good master, why callest thou me good? You know what I'm saying? But here, right? It says, Hakol Sar Yachdau, Ne Lachu, Ein. Osei Tov, Ein Gam Echad. So here it says Hakol, the call, the all of them. Hakol Sar Yachdau, right? But remember the Ha earlier in Hayesh can have a sense of like a questioning. We can even bring out a question here in this third verse, right? Are they all corrupt? Are they all together become impure? Right? Is there none that doeth good? No, not even one. Not even one of them. Right? Hakol sar yachdau ne'elahu. So they are all sar. Sar from sur, the verb sur, right? Sar, right? They have turned aside. Sar. Hakol, all of them. Right? All of them, sar, have all of them turned aside, have all of them departed from the way. Hakol Sar Yachdau, Yachad as one, all together. Like, are they united in turning all away? Right? Yachdau. So here, Hakol Sar Yachdau, Ne'elahu. Have they all like together become Ne'elahu? Allah. The root is Allah. This in the Nephil sense. Thus we have Ne'elahu. Ne'elahu. The Nephil build on Allah, Ne'elahu, right? They have become corrupted, morally tainted, right? Morally tainted. They become muddled, right? They become vague. So Yahweh looks at them and they're vague. They're not clearly righteous. Maybe they did something, whatever, but they're vague, they're muddled. You know what I mean? They're corrupt. You know what I mean? They're corrupt. Right? Is this the case that none, right? None of them does any good? Then it says, Ain, none. Oh, say, oh, no doer of good. Ain, Gam, Ain, and none also, Gam, Echad, and also one. It's an interesting expression. Ain is like there is none, Gam mean also, and Echad mean one. Let me see if they have it right here. Do they have it? They have the Echad one, right? The Echad one right here. Let's go down to the Tanakh where we get every word right here. So here we have Ain. Ain, remember, Ain is the opposite of Yesh. To say ex nihilo, or he created something from nothing, Yesh, Me'ayin. Yesh Me'ayin. 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 Yesh Me'ayin. Yesh Me'ayin. Something, existence, that which is Me'ayin, from that which does not exist. So here it's a negation saying Ain, not Gam. So you see, Gam means also, right? And also none, like ain't there ain't none. Gam, right? Like moreover, not even one, like not even one. There's none of them are doing good, not even one of them, right? Ain Gam Echad, Ain Gam Echad. So they are corrupt. We have turned aside, Sar, right, from the path of righteousness. They be making the wrong choice, right? They have become, right? They have become impure, right? They become filthy, right? The word Allah, right? Corrupted, morally tainted, muddled, not clear, vague. You know what I mean? Impure. This translation, right? Impure, some say it's too weak, right? The root only again found in Job 15:16. This word, Allah, is such a rare word, right? It goes back to some of the oldest, we could say, of the Hebrew, right? In Job's, right? Job 15:16, right? 15:16. Let's go to Job 15:16. Job chapter 15, right? Verse 16. To get this word Allah, Nelahu, right? Nelahu, Allah. Here we have this verse right here. Here's the verse. How much more abominable and filthy man that drinketh iniquity like water. Job got some relics, some old. Job might be one of the oldest books. That's some of the old kind of Hebraic expression, Afro-Shemitic expression. Here, this translated Job 15:16. How much more abominable and filthy man who drinks iniquity like water. Here it says, Af kia nitab. Af kia nitab, where nelach, singular, one man. In our psalm, ne'elahu, plural, ne'elach. When ne'elach, isha shoteh, kamayim, Allah, right? Allah or Avla, he drinks iniquity, right? Evel, Awel, right? Unrighteousness, twistedness, right? Iniquity, right? Evel, injustice, right? Violence, bad deeds. But here it says, Kia Ta'ab, right? For he is abominable, right? As in this psalm right here, right? And it says, Ne'elach, right? So why is this important right here? Because where it says they are altogether filthy, right? The root meaning only found again in the Hebraic scriptures in Job 15:16 originally means to turn sour. Like milk, milk becoming sour, right? So this original sense of this is like a sense of like milk getting spoiled. They're spoiled, right? Becoming tainted. Like when milk becomes sour. When food becomes sour and it smells funny. Like morally to Yahweh and to the righteous, they smell funny. Like morally, it's like sour milk. It's like, throw that out, right? So here, how much more abominable and filthy man. And here the word for man is ish. Ish. Now this is bad because Ish is usually the higher man, higher than Adam. That's when Adam saw Eve, he said that you are Isha because you came from Ish. He already had a higher conception even of who he was, right? But then he fell. But here the Ish, right? Here, once again, Af Kia Nit'ab, where Ne'elach, Isha Shote, Ish, man, Shote, drinks, Kamayim, from water, Aula, from water, Kamayim, Avla. He drinks twistedness, injustice, right? Iniquity, as water, Shote, from Shata. Shata to drink, Shote. He's a drinker, right? He drinks iniquity. This is these kind of people here, even in this psalm right here. So now this is the first section of today's daily psalm right here, verses 1 to 3, right? Should we just go forward right here? Verses 4 to 6, right? The second section, the punishment. Now, right, with the widespread corruption of who they be, who they are, what is the judgment, right? What is the punishment, right? So here on the screen, you can see the comparison with the earlier Psalm 14, the Davidic Psalm. The fool says in his heart, Ein Elohim, they are corrupt, and they do, right? They do abominable deeds, right? There is none that doeth good. And then we compare that with Psalm 53 and 1. The difference, when we look at Hebraically, the fool says in his heart, Ein Elohim, they are corrupt. In 53 and 1, it says they are doing, right? They do, right? This is what they do. But here it's like the action is in a continuation, right? They doing abominable iniquity, right? There is none who does good. Just to bring that out right there. But here, what is the judgment? Let's get to verses 4 to 6, the punishment. The punishment for these, the punishment for these and those. So here we go right here, verses 4, the Dalet verse right here. The Dalet verse. Now, in this verse, according to the context of the Hebrew, it's he who looks down from Shemayim that now is speaking. Now it's Elohim. It's the creator. It's the judge. The judge is now speaking. He's looked over the case. He looked over humanity, right? You know what he was looking for. And now he's rendering judgment. Have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge? It's like what they deal with. They don't have no knowledge. Don't they know? Who eat up my people, right? They eat bread, right? To eat up my people, they eat bread. In other words, they're eating bread, but they're eating up my people, right? Because they starve, you see? And call not up on Yahweh, and call not upon he who be who he be. Now here we also see where the covenant name. Here it says halo. So halo, lo means not. Ha is the Hebraically to say halo is like say, is there not? Isn't it? Isn't it? Is it not? Is it not? Halo yadu, right? Halo not yadu. They knowing? Don't they know? Halo yadu. Halo yadu. Call poale awen. Call poale aven. Do all the doers, the habitual doers, poale awen. Po'ale aven, all the habitual doers of iniquity, aven, in modern Hebrew, aven, ancient pointing, awen, right? Called po'ale awen, right? Trouble, wickedness, sorrow. This word has a sense of panting, right? So they do evil, but in their nature, they exert themselves. They don't just do evil like, it just happened. No, they exert themselves. They pant. They strive to do evil, right? But this evil, as it says here, usually is in vain, right? They pant. They exert themselves, right? They exert themselves. They put effort, right? To do evil, right? Which is the trouble, the vanity, the wickedness, the idolatry, right? Don't they have any knowledge? Don't they yada, right? It says halo, and not yadu, halo yadu. Don't they know? Aren't they knowing? I mean, are they really this ignorant, right? The po'ale, right? Po'ale comes from pa'al. It's another word for do, to make. But the difference of this word to do, to make, is this, where it says a primitive root, to do or make. The difference between this word and asa and oseh, the doer, asa, to do, right? And pa'al, the difference here is pa'al often implies when it says po'alei aven, call po'alei aven, that these are systematic. It's like systematic evil. So systematic racism. We need to talk about systematic evil, systematic wickedness, right? Habitually, it's a habit. Poale. This is what they does. They do's what they does, and they do's iniquity. Call poale awen, call poale aven. What do we have here? Shall not they know? Have all the work of iniquity no knowledge? Now, knowledge here is not the word da'at, the noun, it's the verb yada. And in the sense here is yadu, 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 yadu. Hello, yadu. Don't they know? It's the verb here, right? It's the verb here, right? So more correctly translated would be like, shall not the workers of iniquity know? Won't they know? Won't they know? They don't know. They don't know. All the work of iniquity they don't know. Right? It's not, don't they have any knowledge as a noun, but as a verb, don't they know? Right? Don't they know? Right? It is conceivable. Is it really conceivable that they are so lost to all understanding as to really, really and truly think that Elohim, the Creator, right, will overlook such behavior? Do they really think they can do what they will and there won't be no judgment? Do they really think that? Right? And he will not know what they're doing and not judge what they're doing, not condemn them? Are they really this far gone? This is the verse here. Halo yadu, call Paul right? Paul Leawen, right? Going on right here. It says, Okle Ami, Okle. They're the eaters. So they're the Po'ale, they're the workers of Aven, of iniquity, right? And they are Okle, they are the eaters of Ami, they're the eaters of my people. Akalu, they eat lechem, they eat bread. Yahweh lo karau, and he who be lo, not karau, lo karau, right? They don't call upon Yahweh, right? They don't call upon him. And when it says they don't call, we have to break down the word in the fuller sense. They don't call out, they don't recite, they don't read, they don't proclaim, they don't even call on the name. All right. See, this right here kind of directly more describes the psalm proper interpretation to be speaking about the evildoers amongst Israel. Like the Iscariots, and others, you know what I'm saying? Amongst Israel. That's the context. Even with David and with Saul and them running down David and the evil they was doing against the righteous, what Israel did to the prophets, even Moshe, how he wept saying, you who killed the prophets. This, and who are the killers of the prophets? Was it the other nations? You see what I'm saying? Was it the other nations? Right? And who was eating up the people? Right? But even the false teachers of religion, even in the time of the Pharisees and even before, right? Malachi was busting it down when he was bringing out what the Levites, they was able to carry knowledge and instruct the people, right? But they was eating up the people. Okalea ami, akalu lachem. They're eating the people like they eat bread, right? And bread is a metaphor too. Right? My people. But here it says, me, right? Not just any people, but it's saying my people, right? To show they're taking it personal. Remind me when Yeshua, right, knocked Shaul, the Pharisee, Rabbi Shaul, off his horse, or whatever he was riding, when he knocked him down, right? In that sense, and said, like, why you persecute me, right? And he was like, who are you, Lord? Right? And he was saying, like I am Yeshua. He told him who he was, right? And he said, you're persecuting my people and you're doing it to me. He took it personally. So me, my people. It is the meaning read into this phrase that determined the view of the song. Some say it's the godly, right? Those who are the righteous amongst Israel is intended, right? Others say that it's the nation as a whole, the nation as a whole, right? Some adopt the latter as being more likely the nation as a whole. And it may be that the psalmist had in mind the fate of Israel in Mitzrayim as a type of the people's condition amidst neighbors who know not Elohim. But imagine, not just having neighbors who don't know Elohim, but then having those even amongst Israel who act like they don't know Elohim, even those who say Ain Elohim, right? As they eat bread, as they eat, right, aklu lechem, as they eat lechem, bread, food, grain. They lived, right, by battening on the spoils, right? Looted from their prey, right? So this happened even among Israel to Israel, right? You know, man to man, Israelite man to man. It speaks about it in the scriptures, right? Blood touches blood, you know what I mean? But then also on top of that, right, what the nations have done to Yahweh's people. So there's a multi-level application of this, just to bring it out fully right here. But here's the key part, right? The last part here, Yahweh lo karao. Lo, they don't karao. They don't karao. They don't call, right? They do not acknowledge him, right? They don't call on him, right? They don't call out to him, right? They don't recite his word. They don't read. They don't proclaim, right? They don't call upon the name, right? They don't read aloud his words to themselves, right? And of course, they don't summon and invite him. They're not going to invite Yahweh because they say, Ain Elohim. They do not acknowledge him. For had they really acknowledged him, they would not have acted in such a lawless, a Torahless manner, right? Thus, again, an application of this to, the unfaithful elements amongst Israel. Here, bringing it to the Hay verse, the 5th verse, the punishment of the wicked, the punishment of the ratchet. There were they, there were they in great fear. For Elohim, the creator, the judge, the almighty, in the generation, the almighty is in the generation of the righteous. In Bedor, right? Bedor, right? Bedor Sadiq. He's in the generation of the Sadiq, of the righteous, the Sadiq. So this also tells us something about the interpretation of the song, right? You see where it says, there they were, there, they, and there, and here it's speaking about there, they, right, in great fear for Elohim. Why they're in fear? Because Elohim is not amongst them, right? Elohim is not in their generation, right? But Elohim is in the generation, right, in the door, right, be door, in the generation, the habitation, the generation, right, those living in that period of time, right, the generation, right, those who have the quality, condition, and the class of humanity that Elohim, the creator, approves. That's why it says the generation be Dor Sadiq. Let's bring out the verse right here. It says Sham, there, Sham, not here, but Sham, there, Pachadu, Sham Pachadu, right? Sham Pachadu, Fachad, right? There they were. The word great is not here. It's Pachad. Pachad is terror, is dread. Dread, it shall be dread or dread. Sham, says Sham, Pachadu, there they dreading Fachad. Pachadu, Pachad, Pachadu, Fachad. There they dreading, right? This here is the noun, right? And here, Pachad is the verb. So it's like the word is repeated in the Hebrew, but in two forms. They dreading a dread, right? They're terrorized by terror, like nowadays, right? They terrorized by terror, right? Why they terrorized by terror? Must be the guiltiness resting upon them conscience. Sham pachadu fachad, because Elohim, because the creator, the judge, the almighty power, ki Elohim, bedor, in the generation, the tzaddik, in the generation of the tzaddik, in the generation of the righteous. What do we have? what do we have here? The key word we have here is there. The key word we have here is there. Sham, sham. Sham pachadu, pachad. Sham pachadu, fachad. Right? Sham, sham, there. Thither, there. Wherever there is, there. In whatever place Elohim manifests his judgment upon the wicked, upon the ratchet, that place is there. Right? There. Sham. Sham, pachadu, fachad. Right? So dread, what? Dread, pachad. Right? Pachad, terror, pachad, terror, dread. Dread, it shall be dread. Pachadu, pachad, dread overwhelms them, right? Dread, terror overwhelms them. That's why it was an interesting thing when he started talking about terrorism and made that like the enemy. I said, wow, that's interesting, scripturally speaking. You know, that's what Yahweh says right here, right? There they were in great terror. There they were terrorized by terrorism, right? Sham pachadu afachad ki Elohim bedor sadiq, right? He's in the generation. He is with them, right? Who is he with? He is with the Dors Adik. He is with the generation of the righteous. He's there to aid, to guide, to protect them. He's with the righteous generation, right? Bedor Sadiq, the class of persons, of people who may be designated as Sadiq, right? What class of people may be designated as Sadiq, right? Sadiq. Let me hit the note right there. Oh, I like that. That's one way to say it. They fear the fear. They dreaded the dread. They was terrorized by a terror. Right? They was terrorized by a terror. Right? He's with the righteous generation, the Sadiq, the righteous generation. The same use of generation as we have in Psalm 12. Remember Psalm 12, 13, 14? So 14 here is the third of another trinity of Psalms right here. And here we have the same word for generation, the word door, the door, right? The door. This is different than generation like begat, like one begat, tulid, toldot, right? Toleda, right? Door more has to do with like in that age, in that period of time, right? Those living in a particular generation in that sense, or in a generation like amongst those people who have a particular quality, a condition, a class. That something about these people is similar, right? And the similarity is based on the tzaddik, right? The righteous, the righteousness, right? Boom, 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 boom. Here to the last part of the punishment of the wicked. Here we have the wow, the vav verse. Now speaking, remember this section here, verses 4 to 6, is seen as Yahweh, as Elohim, the judge speaking. Y'all have shamed the counsel of the poor, because Yahweh, his refuge. Wow, it gives the reason why they shame the counsel of the poor, because Yahweh is his refuge. Here it says, Atzat oni, ta bishu, ki Yahweh machsehu. Machsehu is his refuge, his machseh, machseh is his refuge, his shelter from rain, from storm, from danger, is the refuge from falsehood. Yahweh is the refuge from falsehood as well, the shelter, whether literally or figuratively or both. Atzat, the counsel, the eitzah. So we have a counsel, the advice, the purpose, right? Atzat oni, right? The counsel of the Ani, right? The poor, the humble, the one who's down pressed, right? The Ani, right? Who's the Ani? The one who is depressed in mind or in circumstances, right? The afflicted, poor and needy sense right there. Atzata Ani, tavishu, tavishu. You boosh them, you bash them, you boosh them, you bash them. Tavishu. Here, bringing out the sense here, the he feel sense, tabish, right? You put them to shame. You act shamefully towards them, right? You're ashamed of the poor. You're ashamed. Atzata aniya tavishu. Ki, because because Yahweh, he who be, Machsehu, because Jehovah Yahweh is his refuge, right? But not their refuge, right? It's his refuge. What do we have here? The counsel of the poor, Atzat Ani, right? The reliance of the afflicted, the downpressed, upon the justice of the Creator, the justice of the Judge, the justice of the Almighty. Refuge, Machaseh, Machasehu, he proves, right? Will be proved a sure refuge. So it's not just a physical refuge like a storm shelter, yes, but also the key in the secondary sense, the figurative sense from falsehood. You stay in Yahweh and in his word, right? And it's a shelter, right? A protection from falsehood, right? Chasa, seek refuge, seek for protection, guidance and protection. Put your trust, your confidence, always faithful, always sure. And Santa Ani Tavishu, Ki Yahweh Machsehu. Here to the last and the final verse here, the Zain, the 7th verse right here, the seal up verse here. And what do we have in this closing verse here? We have the concluding prayer, the concluding tefillah, right? Concluding prayer. This verse is likely, some say it may have been an addition for liturgical purposes, the liturgy for collective worship purposes, some say, to make the psalm more suitable, right? From a personal chant of Dawit, but to make it more suitable for recital in the Haykal, in the assembly. But this verse here, the concluding prayer. Oh, that the salvation of Yisrael from Zion was out of Zion, was from Zion. When Yahweh bringeth back the captivity of Amo, of his people, Yaakov, Jacob shall rejoice. Yisrael, Israel shall be glad. Right? Now, the Hebrew sense of it, you see the Hebrew, who will give. So you see where it says, oh, that. In the Hebrew, the word is Natan. Natan means to give. He gave, he put, he set, he gave, to give. Natan. All right. So the Hebraic sense is like, who would give? Who would give? Who will give? Who? It's actually good, like, who will give, right? The salvation, right? The salvation, right? The Yeshua, the deliverance, the welfare, the prosperity, the victory, right, of Yisrael, right, from Zion, from Sion. When Yahweh brings forward the captivity of Ammon, when he does that, Yaakov, Jacob, even the patriarch Jacob shall rejoice, and Yisrael and the people, right, Yisrael shall be glad. Here, concluding verse, here it says, me yitain, me, who, yitain, who will give, me attain, who will give me Zion? Me attain me Zion, who will give from Zion? Me attain me Zion, who will give from Zion? Yeshuat, the salvation of, the victory of, Yeshuat Yisrael, the preservation of Yisrael. Me attain me Zion, Yeshuat Yisrael. Beshub, Yahweh, Beshub, in returning, in returning, right? Beshub, Yahweh, he who be, in turning the Shabut. Beshub, Yahweh, Shabut. Beshub, Yahweh, Shabut. In turning, right? Yahweh, in turning the captivity, Beshub Yahweh Shabut, right? Amo, of his people, right? So here we have two words, Shub, Beshub, in turning back, in returning, Beshub, Yahweh, in turning back, in returning, Yahweh, he who be, the Shabut, the captivity, the Shabut, right? The captives, the captivity, the Shabut, right? Amo, the captivity, Shabut, Amo, the captivity of his people, of his Amo, right? At that time, Yagel, Yaakov, Jacob, Yagel. Jacob will rejoice. Jacob will spin. Jacob will jump for joy in that sense. Jacob will spin, right? So happy that when you're so happy that you feel like spinning around, kind of that sense. Yisrael, right? Yismach. Yisrael. And Yisrael will be happy. Yisrael will rejoice. Yisrael will be glad. Right? Here we go. Will bright. Actually, the word to be glad, to the root sense, is like to brighten up, to be bliss, to be gleesome. Yisrael will be gleesome. Yagel, Yaakov, Yismach, Yisrael. So here to this final closing verse right here, right? Who will give from Zion the salvation, the victory, right, of Yisrael? In the time that Yahweh returns the Shibut of his people, the captivity of his people, Yaakov, Jacob, will rejoice. Yisrael will brighten up, will be glad. Right here. Right? Mi yatain the mi Zion, Yeshuat, Yisrael, Beshuv Yahuwah Shibuta Amo, Yagel Yaakov, Yismach, Yisrael, Yismach, Yisrael, Yismach, Yisrael. So the key here is Zion, mi Zion. Who will give? Like who will give? Who is the giver from Zion? Who will give from Zion? Mi yatain, mi Zion. Here, Zion, Zion. Remember Zion? Not the ism, the schism, right? But Zion, right? Firstly, foremostly, it's the castle of David. And with David was established the messianic, we could say the Davidic covenant and that messianic covenant. And at Zion, David brought the Ark of the Covenant, and this is where the praise and worship service, we could say, began. This is where the tabernacle of Moshe becomes the tabernacle of David. And this is what brings us even to New Testament time, the Psalms, the praises, the worship, the hallelujah. So Zion is both the kingdom, right? Zion for the true blue Yisraelim, Israelites, represents both that Davidic kingdom, covenant kingdom of David, and the sanctuary represented by the Ark of the Covenant. So both the church and state, or the kingdom, right, or the sanctuary and the kingdom, the church and state sense right here. This is why Zion is so important. So where on the earthly plane do we have testimony of the Davidic kingdom, right, and testimony of the Ark of the Covenant? Don't you know, right? With Ethiopia, this man was born there. The dwelling place of the divine glory, from that even he who he be, Yahweh Eloheinu, makes his sovereignty. He makes what? His sovereignty, right? His sovereignty known to the world, right? To both the Yehudi and to the Gentile, for the Jew and the Gentile. When he turneth, when he does what? When he bringeth back, or when he turneth, Bishub, when he returns, turneth back, when he turneth, right? Bishub, Yahuwah Shibut, Amo, when he turns the captivity of his people. This is an idiom. When we say like the Shub Shabut, right? Bishub Shabut or Bishub Yahweh Shabut, this is like an idiom. This is like restore their baraka, restore their blessing, right? The captivity, to turn back, to cause it to come again, right? To cause it, yeah, let's go scroll down here. Where we go down here? Okay, all this. Here we go. To turn back, to return, literally, figuratively. The idea of return to the starting point, right, can be a retreat, right, when he would do again, right, do for us again what he has done for the ancestors in past times. It does not necessarily imply, right, always an actual state of exile, although it does, but sometimes it can be in a figurative sense, as is seen, right, even from Hosea 6:11. Hosea 6:11. Let's seal up with Hosea 6:11. Hosea 6:11. What do we have here? It says, also, O Yehuda, he have set an harvest for thee when I return the captivity of Ami, right? When I return the captivity of my people. Here. It says, Gam Yehuda Sham Katzir Lak. Bishubi, Shibut, Ami, Bishubi, in my turning, Shibut, the captivity, the Shibut, Ami, in my returning the captivity of my people. And then we have it over here, Amos 9:14. Amos 9:14. Let's go to Amos 9:14. We should go to Amos 9 and 7, right? Let's go to 9 and 7, right? 9 and 7 first, 9 and 7, right? So in 9 and 7, what does it say? What does it say? Y'all not as the children of Ethiopians to me, O children of Israel, saith Yahweh, have not I brought up Israel out of the land of Mitzrayim, and the Philistines from Kaphtor, and the Syrians, the Arameans from Ker, here, right? Halo, is it not? Halo, Kia b'nei Kushim, atem li b'nei Yisrael. Num Yahweh, halo et Yisrael ha'eliti me'eretz Mitzrayim ua Philistim mia Kaftor wa Aram mia Mikir. Right? Let's go to verse 14 right here. And so here's the verse, the epicenter verse right here. What it says, and I will bring again, turn again, bring again the captivity of Ami, my Yisrael, of my people Yisrael, and they shall build the waste cities and inhabit, and they shall plant vineyards and drink the wine thereof. They shall also make gardens and eat the fruit of them. Here. With Shabti eta Shibuta Ami Yisrael. I will surely, with Shabti, I have turned et Shibut, the captivity, Ami Yisrael, of my people, Ami Yisrael. Banu Arima Ne Shamot, we Yashbua, we Nat'ua Ramim, we Shatu eta Yeyanam, we Asua Ganot, we Aklu eta Perihem. Yes. So there, that captivity, return. We're in the time of the turn. They said the times are changing, they're turning, right? And may they turn. I once lost, now found, Beta Israel way. Once again, final verse here. Mi yatein mi Zion, Yeshuat Yisrael, Beshuv Yahweh Shibuta Amo, Yager Yaakov, Yismach Yisrael. Be happy. Oh, Israel. Here. Hello. Shabbat Shalom. So right here to this psalm right here, Psalm 14, right? Psalm 14. Do we have this one right here? So here we go. Ayabingi. Yes, I Rastafari.
Psalm 14.
מזמור י"ד. למנצח לדוד.
The fool hath said in his heart.
אמר נבל בליבו.
There is no God.
אין אלוהים.
They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. The Lord looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek God. They are all gone aside. They are all together become filthy. There is none that doeth good. No, not one. Have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge, who eat up my people as they eat bread, and call not upon the Lord? There were they in great fear, for God is in the generation of the righteous. Ye have shamed the counsel of the poor, because the Lord is his refuge. Oh, that the salvation of Israel will come out of Zion. When the Lord bringeth back the captivity of his people, Jacob shall rejoice, and Israel shall be glad. Shall be glad. Shall be glad. Shall be glad. Shall be glad.
מזמור י"ד. למנצח לדוד. אמר נבל בליבו, אין אלוהים. השחיתו, התעיבו עלילה, אין עושה טוב. אדוני משמיים השקיף על בני אדם, לראות היש משכיל, דורש את אלוהים. הכל שר יחדיו נאלחו, אין עושה טוב, אין גם אחד. הלא ידעו כל פועלי אבן, אוכלי עמי אכלו לחם. אדוני לא קראו, שם פחדו פחד, כי אלוהים בדור צדיק. עצת עני תבישו, כי אדוני מחסהו. מי ייתן מציון ישועת ישראל, בשוב אדוני שבות עמו, יגל יעקב, ישמח ישראל.
למנצח לדוד, אמר נבל בליבו, אין אלוהים. השחיתו התעיבו עלילה, אין עושה טוב. אדוני משמיים משקיף על בני אדם, לראות היש משכיל, דורש את אלוהים. הכל שר יחדיו נאלחו, אין עושה טוב, אין גם אחד. הלא ידעו כל פועלי האבן, אוכלי עמי אכלו לחם. אדוני לא קראו, שם פחדו פחד, כי אלוהים בדור צדיק. עצת עני תבישו, כי אדוני מחסהו. מי ייתן מציון ישועת ישראל, בשוב אדוני שבות עמו, יגל יעקב ישמח ישראל.
Psalm 14.
מזמור י"ד. למנצח לדוד, 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 לדוד.
The fool hath said in his heart, in his heart, in his heart, in his heart.
אמר נבל בליבו, 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 בליבו.
There is no God, no God, no God, no God.
אין אלוהים, אין אלוהים, 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 אלוהים.
They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. The Lord looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek God. They are all gone aside. They are all together become filthy. There is none that doeth good. No, not one. Have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge, who eat up my people as they eat bread, and call not upon the Lord? There were they in great fear, for God is in the generation of the righteous. Ye have shamed the counsel of the poor, because the Lord is his refuge. Oh, that the salvation of Israel will come out of Zion. When the Lord bringeth back the captivity of his people, Jacob shall rejoice, and Israel shall be glad. 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 Psalm 14.
מזמור י"ד. למנצח לדוד, 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 לדוד.
The fool hath said in his heart, his heart, his heart, his heart.
אמר נבל בליבו, 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 בליבו.
There is no God, no God, no God, no God.
אין אלוהים, אין אלוהים, 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 אלוהים.
They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. The Lord looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek God. They are all gone aside. They are all together become filthy. There is none that doeth good. No, not one. Have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge? Who eat up my people as they eat bread, and call not upon the Lord? There were they in great fear, for God is in the generation of the righteous. Ye have shamed the counsel of the poor, because the Lord is his refuge. Oh, that the salvation of Israel will come out of Zion. When the Lord bringeth back the captivity of his people, Jacob shall rejoice, and Israel shall be glad. Shall be glad, shall be glad, shall be glad, shall be glad, shall be glad.
מזמור י"ד למנצח לדוד. אמר נבל בליבו, אין אלוהים. השחיתו, התעיבו עלילה, אין עושה טוב. אדוני משמיים השקיף על בני אדם, לראות היש משכיל, דורש את אלוהים. הכל שר יחדיו נאלחו, אין עושה טוב, אין גם אחד. הלא ידעו כל פועלי אבן, אוכלי עמי אכלו לחם. אדוני לא קראו, שם פחדו פחד, כי אלוהים בדור צדיק. עצת עמי תבישו, כי אדוני מחסהו. מי ייתן מציון ישועת ישראל, בשוב אדוני שבות עמו, יגל יעקב, ישמח ישראל.
Yes, 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 yes. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Mubarak, fam. Right here. Shabbat Shalom, Sembet Salam. Right here. Gonna seal up. Shabbat Shalom. Peaceful Shabbat, Mubarak. And a blessed one. Here on the outro with Benjamite. Right here. Shua Shalom, y'all. Join I and I after the Shabbat, this 7th sabbatical study. Here for Shabbat, Wayyetzei, and he, Yaakov and Jacob. Yagel, Yaakov and Jacob will rejoice. And Jacob went forth. Yismach, Yisrael, Israel being glad. Here we get the birth, right? You can say the birth, in that sense, the birth of the people, right? The children, really the children of Israel, the sons. You know, we got 11 of them right here, and one daughter. 11 sons and one daughter. So, yes, I, Rastafari. So here for the outro, Benjamite. Yeshua Shalom, y'all. Shabbat Shalom. Mubarak, and a blessed one. Be well.
Don't you forget it. Don't you forget it. Never forget it. Never forget it. Babylon want us to forget it. Sabbath day. Don't you forget it. Don't you forget it. Never forget it. Never forget it. Don't you forget it. Don't you forget it. Rome want us to forget it. Sabbath day. Genesis 2:1-2 talks about the Sabbath. Enoch and Methuselah, they kept the Sabbath. Abraham, Isaac and Jacob kept the Sabbath. Don't forget the Sabbath day, eh? It's the way how they lived. They kept the Sabbath. Solomon and David, they kept the Sabbath. Praises they give the Most High on the Sabbath. Don't forget the Sabbath day, eh? Christ came in the earth and he kept the Sabbath. The early church, they kept the Sabbath. The 12 disciples, they kept the Sabbath. Don't forget the Sabbath day, eh? Don't you forget it. Don't you forget it. Never forget it. Never forget it. Don't you forget it. Don't you forget it. Sabbath day. Don't you forget it. Don't you forget it. Never forget it. Never forget it. Rome want us to forget it. Don't you forget. Babylon want us to forget it. Sabbath day. Praises on the Sabbath. We take rest on the Sabbath. Don't work on the Sabbath. No buying and selling on the Sabbath. Because it is the Most High's day. We chill on the Sabbath, read the scriptures on the Sabbath, have a class on the Sabbath. We gather on the Sabbath, the assembly. We beat the drum on the Sabbath. We sing on the Sabbath. We don't do our own thing on the Sabbath. Don't you forget it. Don't you forget it. Never forget it. Never forget it. Don't you forget it. Babylon want us to forget it. Sabbath day. Don't you forget it. Don't you forget it. Never forget it. Never forget it. Babylon want us to forget it. Don't you forget it. Rome want us to forget it. Sabbath day. From the beginning of time, the Most High established the Sabbath day. Sabbath day. Why would people think the Most High would want to take that away? That away. It's a day when mankind humble themselves, praise the Most High and pray. Pray from all the worldly things they have to turn away. So don't you forget it. Don't you forget never, it. Never forget it. Never forget it. Don't you forget it. Sabbath day. Don't you forget never, it. Never forget it. Never forget it. Don't you forget it. Don't you forget it. Rome want us to forget it. Sabbath day. Genesis 2:2 talk about the Sabbath. Enoch and Methuselah, they kept the Sabbath. Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, Yeshua, the 12 disciples, the early churches. Never let go of the Most High. I never let go of the Most High. I never let go of the Most High. 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 Never let go of.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
Lion of Judah Society.
Lion of Judah shall break every chain.